All right, we're live. Excuse me if you heard that belch. I'm gonna say this first and foremost, and I don't know if the brother Parris is watching, because I did give him the link. And Parris, I'll say this first and foremost. I gotta go live and address this live. I think it's only right. I'm gonna be respectable. I'm gonna be fair, I feel, and respectable, and show everything chronologically to underscore my point. And then, like I said, we can talk. And when we talk, and I'm not, this ain't no shot, but I just got to keep it a buck. I don't show DMs. I had one particular instance where I showed a DM, and that's because I had a group of crazy people in the cloud community that was upset that I didn't like GFN and that I liked Stadia at the time. And so they were making all these false accusations and trying to report us to the FBI. It was crazy. So I had to come out and show the DM, you know what I'm saying, and tell them to chill out. But whatever we say or talk about behind the scenes, that's that. You know what I mean? That's how I roll. Okay. That being said, also too, I haven't been live since in a while. Well, the last time we was live was yesterday. I'm lying, but I haven't been live like this in a long time. My brother Cold Blood, he may be in the chat, but I'm not going to add him to this because I don't want to make it seem like a pile on, because you know how Cold Blood can get. Not that he's wrong, but Cold Blood don't know. He don't know how to be nice. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and the people in the Discord know what I'm talking about, because me and Cold Blood had a difference of opinion on something related to this. You know what I'm saying? It was entertaining for those people in the Discord, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be productive here. And not to say that Cold Blood can't control himself. He just refuses to do so. he don't care to do it. It's not part of his MO. All right, what's going on here? What does this title mean? Parris, let's talk honestly without the gaslighting. Okay. So there's a lot of us in the gaming community that feel like there's a variety of content creators that we don't feel are giving good faith analysis on stuff based upon the things that are happening. Now, what do I say good faith? I mean good faith towards the listening public. Like when I turn on my mic and I talk and I give you guys information, I'm giving you guys information based upon what I feel like is better serving to you, not better serving to me. To help put everything on the table, I am transparent on what I like. Like my favorite console is PlayStation. And then what I also have in my portfolio is GeForce Now and native PC gaming. Those are the ways that I game. But when I'm bringing information to you, it's to help you make the best purchasing decision for yourself and to be a counter narrative to those that are, I feel like, and many of us feel like, are saying things that necessarily don't benefit you. Okay. Now, give you a prime example. Opposite of, and I'm not picking on people, and I have no problem with this person. Shout out to Parris for subscribing. I appreciate it, my friend. Colt Eastwood. I have no problem with Colt Eastwood personally. I've taken digs at Colt Eastwood. You know what I'm saying? I've taken digs at him and I've taken digs at Diller because Colt Eastwood originated on the crumb side of things. So because he's part of the crumb side, he's used to it, and he's taking digs at other people too. Called me, him and Dealer called me, what do they call me? A crumb side loser or something like that one time. It's all par for the course. That's how we get down. If y'all don't know, Colt Eastwood and Dealer were brought to the scene because of Next Gen 720, the bot, as we call them, the Bot Fathers show. It was called, what was the show? Xbox Beastfire. That's Colt Eastwood came on the scene. I have nothing against Colt. Mag knows that. That's why Mag comes on the show. Now we criticize Colt Eastwood's takes ferociously. We even laugh at him. But I don't know Colt as a man. I've never cracked a beer with him or chilled with him or sat with him. And if you listen to my content, despite my criticisms, you see that I can ferociously debate or disagree with someone and not despise them or not hate them or not quote unquote like them, as I'm being accused of not liking somebody. My co-host, we argue all the time. That's the dynamic of this platform, is having diversity of thought, and sometimes we get passionate about it, and sometimes we get sharp about it. But that's my brother, that's my best friend out here. We're arguing in the Discord, saying all types of stuff, like not insulting each other, but going hard at each other's belief systems. But it's only gaming, so no way, shape, form, or fashion does Cold Blood think I don't like him. He knows that I love him like a brother, that he's been rocking with me and making fun of when I like Xbox, and definitely me liking Stadia for years. I don't get down like that. So to get that accusation thrown at me, I'm going to respond to it, especially when it's in the public sphere. And now I got people coming to me. Here's the irony of it and why I felt like I had to go live. Because I feel like that the things, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to feel like the things that are behind why Parris said that he feels like I don't like him and how can he take it some other way. I feel like that's a reflection of his situation with Reforge. And he sat out here all day going after Reforge, calling Reforge sensitive, right? And saying that he was and saying he was misrepresenting content creators, and because he was misrepping content creators, I gotta step in. But bro, you do the same thing. You do the same thing, but it's different when it lands in your basket. You misrepresented me off of, I'm gonna be honest, some sensitive stuff. I'm gonna show it. And cast aspersions on me, and you know what, you gotta follow it. Now, nothing against Reforge. I love, for full transparency, I like Reforge's content. I do agree with a lot of the themes that he's saying as far as the content. And yes, he's admitted, and we've told him at times as his followers, sometimes you may have reacted sensitively to this. You may have reacted to this. People around him tells him that. And what he tried to do today was an end result of the conversations that a lot of us have had with him, live, behind the scenes, all that stuff, right? And yeah, if you look at what Parris put out there, you could reasonably say, well, maybe Reforge took that a little bit sensitively, the DM, and it wasn't as extreme as he made it. You could come away with that. But when I'm trying to get my hands around, and maybe maybe I won't understand here in this live. It'll probably take the conversation with me offline, one-on-one with Parris, to understand, how don't you see the parallels on how you conceive stuff? How don't you see the parallels in it? And another reason why it's important for me to do this is because during an offline call, I don't want to be sending you links to tweets and saying, look at this, look at this. You can see it. I'm gonna show it to you. All right, so let me stop babbling on. And Parris, I will talk to you. Not a problem, my friend. I will talk to you. But in all fairness, I want to put this out here first, and then I can bring you on. I'll give you a link to our Discord. Not a problem. So here's what we'll do. I want to first and foremost show you how all this started. But Parris, I got to be honest, and you can talk about this, my friend, when you come on, when I bring you on. Don't you see the irony in the olive branch being extended to you? And you say, no, this is not how it works, right? But brother, you falsely framed me. You know what I'm saying? And now you're like, hold on. If you're talking about me, you should bring me on. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's not to have people draw sides for Reforge or Parris. It's like, how can you go on the campaign that you went on today, which I commented on, right? But how can you perceive that situation a certain way do what you are guilty of, or what you claim that that person is guilty of, and act like it lands a completely different way. And I'm gonna show you this is a pattern. And we can talk about it live, and we can talk about it behind the scenes as well. First and foremost, let me do this. Let's go here. And please don't confuse me in my elevated voice tones with me trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This is just how I talk. Deep blue sea, you ain't seen none of my move. All right, hold on. Let's go here. Okay. Now let me show you the web. No, I don't want to show you that screen. I want to show you another screen. Now, to be fair to Parris, this is what this is one of the comments that I made about him and why I've attacked his approach. I've attacked his approach. Okay. I said, when self-awareness and hypocrisy is your final boss and you keep losing, this is your tweet. That said, this needed to end, and it was an endless path to nowhere. So in this tweet, I'm responding to Parris, who is going after Reforge. He's talking about how he deleted the tweet and he was spreading misinformation and he's being sensitive about clips and L's and stuff like that. And I, without me disclosing too much information, I can tell you what happened. This is false framing of why Reforge did what he did. I'm not going to, I don't want to put too much focus on Reforge, but I got to explain to you how this all started, because this is about me and Parris. Reforge, while all this stuff was happening today, I'm going to be honest and tell you what I said. I was like, bro, I have experience here, which I'm about to show you, where you will get false framed. And I don't know if there's going to be good faith stuff. You offered the conversation. It wasn't received. I was like, bro, let it go. Just do your thing, man. There's clearly a goal to just attack you for whatever reason. Let it go. Now, I'm not saying that they were like, oh yeah, MM2K, you're right. So I'm going to do, but I can assure you again, because of the people that are around this individual, including myself, they probably took that in consideration and said, yeah, you know what? I for the betterment of what I actually offer to people, I'm not going to engage this at all, because this ain't worth it. Not for tabloid reasons or whatever, but that's what it was. But again, that's between those two grown men. But you know how I am. I'm a stickler for things being perceived accurately. I follow Reforge. I know what the situation is about from his extent. So that's why I put what I put out there in the ethos, right? And to be fair to Parris, he's going to respond. Or I mean, he's going to respond. He has the right to respond. So he responded. Now, look, it's Noor had said something. He said, does he do the same ish, laugh out loud? And I said, I keep reading these tweets like, bro, but when your lack of awareness is that deficient, the irony breezes right past you. Now, why do I keep referring to Parris's lack of awareness of, not seeing the duplicate result when he does it in the mirror? I'll show you in a little bit. But Parris responds. He says, laugh out loud, please. You can dislike me all you want, and I know you do. But spread misinformation against other creators, nah. So in this part, he's talking about Reforge. That's why he did what he did, but he's basically saying, I know you do. I know, which is a definitive statement, right? Now, maybe to Parris, definitive statements don't mean anything. They're just supposed to be looked over and breezed over. But for a lot of us, again, that are pointing to these criticisms, and I feel like doing them fairly, you can't make definitive statements if they're not definitive. So I say, Parris, friend, buddy, did you read what you're responding to and what you replied before hitting send? I'm talking about the hypocrisy of your accusations. Again, all the stuff that you had to say today on your barrage on Reforge, right? You said all that like, you're above this, but you're out here doing the same thing that you blamed him for. I'm talking about the hypocrisy of your accusations, yet you are here being a hypocrite, making false accusations and playing victim. How you figure I dislike you? He says, trust me, I'm not a victim. I'm a public figure. So it comes with the job to be criticized. And just like you, you're criticizing me right now. I am more than willing to speak with you. So I'm going to shoot a DM direct. Oh, no, this is what he sent recently. I'm sorry. He said something else. So let me see here. Let me see if I can find the other tweet. Let me go to my other tweet where he responded that provoked me to. Okay. So he says, hold on. You ain't delete that tweet, did you, Parris? Hold on, where's it? Oh, no. Okay, here he goes. I'm sorry. Look, it's Nor had responded to him and said, look, I don't think anyone dislikes you. Criticizing and calling you out on something when they see you are moving type spooky is not disliking you. I'm sure you're a solid dude outside of this, but people can't help finding it strange how you be moving at times. Laugh out loud. That was very courteous from Nor. He says, but I welcome criticism and stand by the stuff I say, and one can have reasonable convos when we disagree. All I ever ask is not to be disrespectful or I'll ignore you. And if you make up stuff like Lono, I'll call it out. And I responded, Parris, stop. People who disagree with you, which I will show, you gaslight and play victim. You just did it. Like, I really don't even have to show you guys. He just did it. When did I say I dislike you? Here's what made me go live, because I was just going to address this in passing tomorrow in some little goofy way and do some type of stream with you guys, some of the Steam games that I bought. But I said, because I remember this is what he says, because I remember the comments from years back when you were upset I was not a fan of Stadia. Stop it, bro. And you built your content around it. You can't help but constantly talk about me when, to be honest, I've never said. Okay, here we go. First and foremost, I was upset with you because you weren't a fan of Stadia. Parris, please, brother, I am the receipt master. I don't want to have to pull up the let me just say this. There's a deep history behind my involvement with Parris and Gamertag Radio, and I don't want to drag Danny in this because Danny ain't got nothing to do with this. But I used to call up the show regularly, do voicemails, and at times when they played them, I would disagree with Parris. I would purposely, go at Parris in like a friendly debate type way. And sometimes he would engage and sometimes he wasn't. Parris, you remember the time when I was like, it's your boy MM2K, and you was like, I hate that comment. It's your boy MM2K. So I was active with the show. It was one of my favorite shows. You'll see the accolades that I gave the show. I was very active in the Discord, right? So when Stadia came out, Parris clearly made it a point that he was not a fan of Stadia. I didn't care. The only time I would rear my head is when he misrepresented the facts, or I would ask him a question about such and such, such and such. Like there was the one time, Parris, where before Stadia released and we were looking at, or you were looking at the speeds that you would need in order to run it. And then I was responding back and forth with you. We both was talking about excitement over that. Then you did a subsequent stream where you said you didn't like it. And I was like, well, did you try this or that? Parris, my relationship with you, or my interaction rather to properly announce it with you, never was predicated on me agreeing with you. Why can I say that? Because here's a prime example. Parris says here a while ago, 100% in response to someone, you might check out our Gamertag Radio for gaming opinions, but you stay for the genuine banter between three brothers, him, Danny, and Peter. Shout out to Peter Toledo. That was my homie. The way we talk on the podcast is the same way we talk to each other off mic, and I was a fan of that banter. The difference of opinion, same thing I try to bring here, even though we're a little bit more in your face with it, but we do the same thing here. It was inspired from the banter that was on Gamertag Radio between the three. And I said, I agree. This is what I said way back in the day. Agree. We need people to look beyond the silver bullet for everything we agree with. I enjoy the show for the independence of thought and the discussions raised. That's regardless how many times Parris or Pete make me do this when listening on Twitch. Laugh out loud, great show, guys. And it's got me with the little panda smacking the thing. Clearly tongue in cheek, right? Clearly tongue in cheek. Parris responds, why do I make you do that? Legit want to know. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's like, that kind of threw me off a little bit. Like we just talked about how we enjoyed the banter. Parris, you know, at this time that I sent this tweet out, you've had the calls. You saw me in the Discord. You've commented, oh, I can't stand that when, jokingly, you said that. So I'm like, where is this coming from? It kind of like made me feel a little weird. Like, what's going on here? Is my brother feeling a little sensitive? So I came back with this. It's the difference of opinion on certain gaming matters, but it's all good. It's just my passion for gaming. With that said, I love the diversity of thought. It makes for good entertaining and fosters great gaming discussions. Keyboards have been broken, all in good spirit. This is following my banters back and forth with you, Parris. And I don't know if you forgot, I got a long history as far as watching the content and being a fan of the show. You weren't always a fan of Xbox, and I was admittedly a super fan. So at times I would call up with my Xbox fanboy banter, and you would, respond with your PlayStation banter or what, you know what I'm saying? But it was all in fun and love. But there was always a trace of, at times, depending upon your mood, Parris, you would want to just shut people off. This is what it is, period. And as time went on, you started doing that a little bit more and more. So, prime example, this is where I decided I got to step back from Parris because he's getting a little too out of pocket. I'm sensitive or I'm being attacked, but I know how I am. You bring a sport to you bring a sport to the fight, I'm coming with a hatchet. So I know I am. Let me back up a little bit. Paul Tassi had made some comments about Stadia. Now, this is well after me and you have went back and forth on Stadia. You actually did a stream. I commented on things. You disagreed. I was okay with it, again, because I enjoyed the banter. Somebody had put in a comment session, Vicious6, has used the, and I think you were talking about GeForce Now, have used the service and said it works well. Plus the fact that you can play your already own Steam games on it is a massive plus. That's all I know about it. You responded, yes, I used and played Destiny 2 on Stadia, xCloud, and GeForce Now. In my opinion, GeForce Now is the best version as it's the PC version, 60 frames per second, and works on the NVIDIA Shield as well. And so then I didn't come in there and say, oh, Parris, you fool, you idiot, you dummy. I said, NVIDIA Shield is a great product. I said, my personal opinion, like you asked with a smiley face, I prefer Stadia's version and gave the reasons why and showed you a link that I put out there. Before we even get here, please take me out of this link. I have zero desire. We're not even gonna get there yet. Where's that other thing that you put in here? Oh, here it goes. Please take me out of this thread. I have zero desire to argue the merits of a beta versus a half-baked final product. I repeat, Parris talking about how he preferred GeForce Now. I said, NVIDIA Shield is a great product. Even at the time, I was pissed at GeForce Now because of some stuff that was happening. I don't even know if it's worth breaking down here and now because to this day, now I do have a relationship with NVIDIA and GeForce Now. I've actually sat in meetings. I got an opportunity to sit in meetings, talk to the representatives. We talked about the criticisms that I've had of the product and now why I love the product now because it's gotten better. We've laughed and joked about it. That GeForce Now staff even said, yeah, it's all right. You were shilling for Stadia. No, we've joked around about it. These are the people that were the makers of the product, Parris and listeners. So if they can take it with a grain of salt, even after the fact, after all the stuff I was doing, and that was counterproductive of them cracking into the cloud gaming market because I was a vocal entity in the cloud space. We sit there and laugh about it. All I said to you talking about GeForce Now is NVIDIA Shield is a great product. My personal opinion, like you asked, I prefer Stadia. In other words, I'm de-escalating if we're talking about embracing for potential riots. I'm de-escalating here. Please take me out of this thread. I have zero desire to argue the merits of a beta versus a half beta. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, come on, Parris, why the vitriol? Who's arguing? Both great performing products, NVIDIA Stadia entitled. I said entitled to your opinion, my friend, in this perspective, but your stance alone is in golden. With its flaws, people like what Stadia has to offer, along with, like, I wasn't even trying to, debate with you. You could have very easily just said, well, I don't like Stadia. I just like GeForce Now. And I'd have been like, cool. Not a problem. As I've done in the past, Parris. I've done it in the past. We've been jovial before. I've sent tweets. Pure gaming gospel, bruh. And you responded with the thank you hands. I've also said to you, and me talking about when the Xbox One X and S and all them were out. And at this time, I'm soured on Xbox. I don't believe in the Xbox Series at all. In actuality, your positive outlook on the Xbox Series, I was a little confused on starting here, but I was still respectable. And I didn't push too far because I could understand how your temperament could be. So I said, in response to something you said about Thurs, I said, laugh out loud. I can see the following scenario. I'm breaking it down with you, even though I don't have any faith in this product at all. And I'm like, sorry for so many questions, just trying to make sure I got my facts straight. It's better for Fidelity to scale down, opposing the scaling up, right? Or is it because stuff wasn't jiving from Xbox. So I'm trying to get it from you, a voice I may not always agree with, but a voice I respected at the time. So we've been jovial before. So what are we doing here, Parris? What are we doing here? And I'm sorry, I had to do this publicly, not to try to shame you or whatever, but brother, I plead with you. Now don't roll up on me like LeBron did Stephen A. Smith. I know you be in the gym, but I'm 6'1", 265, bruh, part of the 300 club. Don't roll up on me like, no, I'm just joking with you. I'm a granddad though, but don't roll up on me like that. But I'm pleading with you as a content creator. What's up with all this false framing? Because I remember the comments from years back when you were upset with me, I was not a fan of Stadia? Do the comments that I show represent someone that cares that you were not a fan of Stadia when I clearly said here in this last interaction that we had that was jovial, NVIDIA Shield is a great product, my personal opinion, like you asked, like I'm trying to de-escalate. I know you don't like Stadia, but I just want to throw my 2 cents in there. And you came off like this. And I said, come on, Parris, why the vitriol? Who's arguing? And then here you go. Please remove me from this thread. Like, so this counteracts what you said before. I welcome criticism and stand by stuff we can say. We can have convos when we disagree. Does that look like you trying to have a convo, bro? No. This ain't got nothing to do with, and look, if your memory was jogged incorrectly, I would get it. But Parris, I've listened to endless content of yours. I don't know you personally to say whether I like you or dislike you. I was a fan, admittedly, of your content. But I don't know you. I'm not one of these sicko fans that attaches themselves to people that I don't know. I don't know you to dislike you or not to like you. even after the fact, when I've brought you up publicly, I've always said positive things. Like if there's a couple of shows that I did in regards to things that involve you, I've been critical of your actions, but I've always said, hey, look, this brother is talented, this, that, and the third. So number one, we got to go public because we're not going to do this Stadia stuff. We're not. Look, shout out to my brother Post Up. I love Post Up with his pork rind and pickle juice eating behind. I love Post Up like a child I don't pay child support for, all right? He always tried this Stadia stuff. I wouldn't take back my support of Stadia Day because I'm a tech enthusiast. I believed in the tech just like many people that worked on it. It's just unfortunately, the Alphabet company didn't know what the hell they was doing. And I ended up being wrong as far as the faith that the Google leadership have. And I stand on that. I went live immediately after it was announced. I didn't run from anybody. I went live immediately and took them bricks and said, you know what? I stand on my enthusiasm on the platform, but my bad. Because actually the Google graveyard guy was right. And I said, I was clobbering that dude. And now that's somebody I went after. I ain't go after you, Parris. See, just like how and I hate to keep bringing this up, but just like how you're making Reforge seem sensitive, and I would agree that maybe I wouldn't have taken your DM the way that he did. This looks sensitive to me. Very sensitive. But you take stuff how you take it. So that's why, out of respect, after I'm not live anymore, I'm willing to shut my big old effing mouth. I had to stop myself from cursing twice. Big old effing mouth and just hear your side of it. I'm willing to do that, brother. But you're not going to gaslight me publicly. I know how this works. I've been doing this for 7 years. You're not going to gaslight me publicly, and then I just let it be, and then we shake hands behind the scenes, and then we go about the way, and then people be like, yeah, that MM2K dude, he's crazy. Yeah, you see how he went after Parris? I mean, it's a good thing they chopped it up, but you see how he went after Parris? That stuff lasts. That stuff lasts. And I never did that to you as far as your talent. I never deduced you like that. Everything that I criticize, there is a legit paper trail out there for that. And that's why I got to show the people now. I know how this works. Nothing against Reforge. I'm not Reforge. See, Reforge ain't new to he's new to how this stuff works. That's why a lot of us was just like, bro, just stand down. We know that you have good intentions with what you're trying to do, but you want to get false frame, all that stuff. Just stand down. Leave it alone. I love Reforge's content. I've talked to the guy personally. You know, I think he's a cool dude personally because I got a chance to talk to him personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything about him to really say I really love this dude or I really hate him. But he seems decent to me. But I'm not Reforge. I'm not. Because I remember the comments from years back when you were upset I was not a Stadia fan. The whole ebb and flow of how I operate, the whole ebb and flow of how I operated with your channel. I've operated with you, even at the times where you just seem to be moody. I've always respected your opinion. When I called up the show and, or asked you, barrage you with 1,000 questions until I felt like you were like, nah, okay, I'm done with the conversation, and respectfully, I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna pull. I didn't do you like how I would do anybody else where I didn't jive with their content. I can be brutal when it comes to somebody else that I was in the trenches with people like Porter Rock. But when I was an Xbox fan, we would have King Thrash on there and try to sabotage him. King Thrash will tell you. I was in the trenches with the broadband bullies and all that stuff. That's what grew me into this. But I do like respectable, let's just come over the facts. You give your perception of it, I'll give mine type of discussions. And what it was is clearly you were not in the mood for it that day. And you know what? That's okay. I backed away from it. And yes, at times, did I then make the conscious decision to say, you know what? I'm a step away, and I can no longer put the shield around when I approach this dude like how I do anybody else. Like my co-host of this channel can tell you, y'all ain't seen Brutal. Or the people in my Discord, or the people that I follow. So where's Corey Massey at? Corey, come. Hey, yo, Cree86, you tell these mofos. Tell them. MM2K can get nasty. And then the next day I'll ask you, hey, yo, you try to play some, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ready for a Monster Hunter Wild stream? Cree will tell you. I can get downright disgusting. I didn't do that. I never did that with you. I never insulted you. Like you've made comments before about how people attacked your family, how people attacked you and made fun of you a certain. I never did that. I always went after the approach. So I don't know where this is coming from or why you would phrase it this way. And no, I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is not a personal attack. Friend or foe. I do this in my damn house. That's why my kids be like, oh, here he goes again. I do this in my house. You say something non-factual, I'm on your ass. Maybe what it is, Parris, is because I was such a fan of the content, I had a buffer when it came to you. And you took the buffer as, now I don't like you. Okay, even though I'm not going for that, that would be fine if you didn't say this. You were upset I was not a fan of Stadia. That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd, Parris. There is nothing out there that would have implanted in your brain that I was upset that you weren't a fan of Stadia. Now that's some stuff that Tom Warren would say, maybe Jazz, because I've gone after them for their blatant Stadia lies. I got an infamous video, which I don't know if you heard about it or not, when Jazz Gordon tried to come out there and say, Stadia, excuse me for belching. You know, I forgot I got to keep this respectable. But when Jazz Gordon came out there and said, Stadia is rendered useless because of Destiny 2. And it ran like dogs. I'm sorry, Parris, I got it. It ran like dog-ish on xCloud at the time. And I did a comparison video. Do you know how many people called me and said, bro, why did you do that to Jazz? That propelled my quote unquote Stadia career or my Stadia content that you brought up. So you can thank Jazz for that. Now I've gone after them. And yes, you may have been in the crosshairs of my critique of what you had to say because it wasn't factual, but I've never gone after you, Parris, the person. I may have analyzed your approach, and yes, at times I may have analyzed the intention or criticized the possible intention, but people can tell you that follow my content. I've always said, this is my point of view. Now you surely didn't follow my content, so I don't expect you to know, even though you deduced my content down in so many ways. You didn't do it exactly, but in so many. I'm gonna be careful here and not say things matter-of-factly like you have done, honestly, carelessly. Be honest with you, you've done it carelessly. I'm not gonna deduce it like that. I'm just gonna say, so one could deduce from the words that you're saying that my content was about making people fans of Stadia. Ask Doc Dark. Doc Dark, and people know the story of Doc Dark and how me and him became cool. I heard Doc also saying something untrue about Stadia. I came after him. No. Before I came after him, I tried to do what I did with you. Show you factual stuff and get you to see where your information might be off base. Not make you like Stadia, but get you. And I did that with Doc. And I said, Doc, let me do you a favor. We eating good over here. The members are supplying us. They paying the light bills. They paying the water, the sewage. They ain't backing up and none of that stuff. I'm going to buy you a Stadia unit. And what I want you to do is be totally honest about the Stadia unit. Doc was like, whoa, bro. I done heard all this crazy stuff about Stadia. Now I'm gonna let you know, I'm not one of these people that can be bought off because you got me something. If I don't like it, I'm gonna tear it to shreds. I said, Doc, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. Because if you don't like it, you get to tell Google what they need to do better so they can expand and be more successful beyond the people that they already have. And I said, I want to bring you on and let you speak your truth. He was shocked. Now, in Doc's case, he got access to Stadia via online before he even got the unit, which was the best way to play. And he was a fan. And the rest is history. And when he had his criticisms, we brought him on unfiltered, unchained for him to say what he had to say. Does that sound like I want people to be a Stadia fan? My co-host of my show right now here on MM2K Gaming, Cold Blood Sensei. Cold Blood, I love you, brother. I know you want to hop in here. I know you itching to hop in here, but again, I don't want this to be framed a certain way. My brother used to come in my chats and this is before we were ultra cool. He just rocked out with the platform. And I was like, because he rocked out with the platform, you know what I'm saying? He's cool. And there was another dude named Amunar. Between Cold Blood and Amunar, they would terrorize the Stadia community. The Stadia community, a large sector of them hated coming to my shows because they were like, why were you letting them two say the horrible things about Stadia? I'm like, because if y'all want this platform to succeed on the mainstream level, y'all better get used to these trolls. Let them rock. I had to scold my people that are in my chat for trying to penalize them and let them rock. Because this is what you got. We supported diversity of thought here. Now you had to be factual, but we supported diversity of thought. Also, I ran a podcast. Down the middle, it was 3 PlayStation people, 3 Xbox people, and 1 person in the middle. It was called The Commission. Some like Stadia, some prefer GFN, some hate cloud gaming. I've always been about diversity of thought. The reason why I'm laser focused on this now, Stadia's dead. It ain't coming back. And if it did come back, a million gold pieces wouldn't bring me back to support it. Because unless it was under a different leadership, and I mean Google. The Stadia people were fantastic. Got to talk to them. They were great. It's just they didn't have the proper support. That's another story. Anyway, Stadia's dead. The problem is the false framing. There's no need to do that, bro. And every time you do that, it's just to chip away at the perception. Why am I laser focused on this like I'm perfect? I know I'm not perfect. I put my flaws on Front Street every day. Let me show you something, Parris. Yeah. Do you remember this? When you said, why do I legit make you do that? You want to know? And like I said earlier, I got weirded out. Here's why I keep focusing on the hypocrisy and the self-awareness. I feel like at this time, when my words were accepted, if I would have spoke up then and said what I really thought instead of backing down and saying, it's all good, brother. If I would have said what I really thought, like, bro, you speak in absolutist form without the absolutist backing, and then what you said collapses and people done made decisions based off of what you said, then you just want to brush it off. But then you want to call other people names like tabloids and this and that and that. No, brother, no, it don't work like that. To show you again that I didn't like you, I hope you don't mind me playing this. Let me pause the music for a little bit. Let me pause this music. Now, this is from Jamie's act. I know, again, he's someone that trolls you and picks you apart, you know, at times and stuff like that. And he targets you. Yeah, I know. But I'm going to be honest with you. If I listen to a lot of the things that he brings up, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of things, I mean, I can't disagree with him. Let's play this clip. And then I want to show you my response. Let's see if it'll play here.
You know, there's always going to be people that have a problem.
Okay, here we go. Yep. You guys heard that? I hope you don't mind me playing this. If you flag me for it, Parris, I'm not saying you will, but if you do, you do. It's all right.
You know, there's always going to be people that have a problem with me, and for various reasons. But at the end of the day, I know who I am.
Can you do a red wolf?
Okay. I ain't got to play all that. I ain't got to play that shit. Here's what I had to say, Parris, to that. To counteract the whole thing about me not liking you. And Parris, I see your comments. I'm going to get to them, and I'm going to get you in here in a little bit. So we can talk. And then we can talk offline too. I said, people at mass don't have problems with him personally. They're disappointed in him more than anything. For someone who talks so authoritatively about things, and when refuted, he is so dismissive, people took that cockiness as he must know something we don't, when he didn't. Not trying to hit low, but things like pull out the pitchforks. You don't do this unless it's for exclusives, things like that. And the authoritative way that you say things. This is just the way that it is, period. How you even countered me. Just when I was, you know, giving you my opinion, I'm like, whoa, chill, bro, what's going on here? People respond like, well, damn, bro, do you know something we don't? Why would you come off like that to people or to differentiating opinions unless you know something? And then when it comes out that you don't know, you just brush it off. Oh, well, I mean, it is what it is. And I stand on it. And I'm going to criticize that because there's somebody who, even though I said, and my followers can vouch for this, I said, look, when it comes to Stadia, we don't know how long it's going to last. I believe they're going to, at best, wait until they fuse with YouTube before they shut it down. At worst, if they don't make any inroads in 2023, 2024 might be the shutdown time period. And I was a year off. But guess what? 90% of my content, I didn't say I wasn't just a year off. 90% of my content, I was laser focused on saying, look, I totally believe this. People are just spreading FUD, And I had to own up to that. And not just you, my brother Jay Fonzarelli. Jay knows I don't hate him. I've always said Jay is my homie. Jay Fonzarelli never did nothing negative to me. As a matter of fact, a while ago, I came at sideways at Jay Fonzarelli and he brushed it off and we was cool. But he was one of the ones that, again, I feel like that, you know, when you're wrong because people make decisions off of the stuff that you say when you say it a certain way. Like while you were attacking me about, oh, GFN is this and that, I had somebody in my DMs, bullish you not, bro, who said, bro, been watching the back and forth with you and Parris. I bullcrap you not, and you probably would have seen me say this before. I've said this years ago. And I thought GeForce Now was the thing because I can't get a console. And I went and bought Call of Duty because it was on GeForce Now. Only for a week later for them to pull the plug. I can't get my money now. I'm stuck like Chuck. And I told them in Paris, I don't know if they ever reached out to you. I said, you got to take that up with this dude. I'm sorry that happened to you. So that's basically what I wanted to put out there. I'm gonna read your comments and then we'll bring you up in here if I don't know what time zone you're in, Paris. But I'll bring you in here for you to comment and I'm gonna shut up and let you go. But let me just read these comments. Hold on. Okay. If it'll let me do it. Let's go to the social blade. All right. Shout out to Ayla Savici, says just came back from St. Patty's. This is a nice way to end the coming on hangover. Hey, Alias, my drinking on St. Patty's days is over. I hope you had a ginger and Jameson for me, bro. my days is done, man. It's taco night with the wife, bro. Them days is over. Diller is MIA. I have no comment. All right. And Paris said, if you're going to talk about me, invite me on and ask directly. And I commented to that. The irony, though, Paris, I just got to bring that up. The irony. I know you're festering and boiling inside to come in here and say that. I'm going to give you an opportunity. We do not need an offline convo. Let's do it right now. Okay. Yup. Invite me. You said I false framed you. So let's discuss. You skipped. He said Reforge never ever mentioned Parris's name. I clearly missed a news cycle or two. He said it's why I think you dislike me. But see, here's the problem, Paris, and you can explain this part. I want to know this as well. If we're going to have this discussion online and not offline, Paris, I need to know if you think I dislike you. Then why are you talking so matter-of-factly? And you talk so matter-of-factly because you don't just say because you can dislike me all you want. If you would have just left it at that, I would have been like, well, that's just I forget the terminology. It's not matter-of-fact. It's suggestively. But you put in parentheses, bro, and I know you do. This is the heart of the problem, Parris. I know you do. I need to jot that down, put a thumbnail in that. I definitely need you to speak on that one, brother. Hurry up and bring me on. It's a lot of one-sided talking. Well, look, Parris, you got to let me do my thing. And I know you're bursting at the seams, but again, the irony, you were doing a lot of one-sided talking and you had little goons coming after bro. You didn't do an opportunity where y'all could talk together. And I don't even think bro said he wanted you to come on his channel. Y'all could have met together and talked or whatever, and you refused it. So, I mean, come on now. You can't attack me for doing the Parris. He says, I can't wait. Give that invite. He says, I don't think he realizes I'm a GeForce Now partner. Parris, I bet that you were a GeForce Now partner. What are you talking about? Put a thumbnail on that. I need information on that. I'm trying to understand what you were talking about that too. Reforge was in the right. Parris is a hypocrite and huge wishy-washy X-bot. I wouldn't frame it like that high on life because I'm trying to be nice. I can't be a jackass and an a-hole. I'm going to put it like this. It's like I said here. Where'd I put it at? It's like I said here. For someone who talks so authoritatively about things and when refuted, he is so dismissive. People took that cockiness as he must know something we don't. That's what I boil it down to. But I need you to put a thumbnail on that. I don't understand what that meant. Can't have an honest debate or conversation with a dishonest person. Well, I won't say. We'll see. I don't know what his person is like. I will admit, and I'll say it again when he's here, I don't think that a lot of the assessments that he gives is good faith. Now, I've joked around and said stuff like, I think when Parris boots up Game Pass, he throws up in his lap. He can't stand that damn Xbox. But on a real for real, some of the positive framing when clearly Xbox needed to answer serious questions more consistently. I know Parris in interviews threw out some tough questions. They were good questions, but it wasn't enough. I don't think that it dealt with the heart of the problem and some of this framing of, you know, okay, I say draw the line here, pull out the pitchforks here, but now we're changing the line. Now that I've reassessed it because Microsoft changed, now I feel good about this. This is the way it feels. And like a wise person told me, perception is not attempts to the law. He said, brother, send me an invite. I get it. Do it live. We can talk on the stream. I have nothing to hide. Wow. People hate Reforge because of his success and he pushes back on a lot of the BS. Here's what it is with Reforge. And I can relate to Reforge. I'm going to be fully transparent. I can relate to Reforge because I can tell when things aren't framed accurately, he gets a bug in his butt. I do the same thing. That's why me and Cold Blood go back and forth all the time. And Cold Blood does it to me when I just simply misspeak, when it's evident what I meant to say, he gives it to me. The problem with Reforge is when he does it, even though he's really not nasty about it, the crumb side or the people that are a little bit more seasoned and experienced in this, they know, oh, we can attack this dude and make him leery about what we're saying. Where the people like myself, when I say shit about people, and I know people are lurking and watching because I know people that are deep in a lot of these discords where y'all mofos think y'all safe. I know a lot of people in those discords now, and not were in those discords then, that will come back and give me information. So I know people be lurking and watching. And they see what I say and they don't respond. Because some of them know I can get nasty. Hilarious that you won't bring me up. Bro, I'm gonna bring you up, brother, but you have to demonstrate the same patience, Parris. Like, at least I'm bringing you up. You're telling other people, take a hike, even though you are guilty of exactly what you're accusing them of, which we need you to come on stage and answer for. So, yeah. Let's see here. Ha ha ha. I'm going to flag you for talking too long to invite me up. He says, now you're projecting things I didn't say. All right. Let me bring him up in here now. Let's do this. Okay. So let's go here. Excuse me. Okay, let's do this. And okay, Parris, as long as they're not going to be able to see your logo, as long as you're okay with that, as long as that doesn't hurt your feelings. All right, Parris, you sent me an invite. You sent me a DM. So, brother, if you're still up, here's what I need you to do. I almost put it in the wrong Discord. We can discuss it live. Okay, here we go. All right, so that's the link to the Discord. When you get in, come down to general. Come down to general. You'll see me right in there. I put it in the Twitter Discord. And if you can't make it down to general, let me know. Oh, there he goes. Do I have to unmute you? Hold on. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Okay, you're good. Well, there goes the man of the hour. Can you guys hear him? Say something again, Parris, so I can make sure that your mic is coming through.
Saying something.
Okay. All right. He's here. Okay, Parris. I'm going to shut up unless you want me to respond because I went on for 37 days. All right.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm going to shut up.
Let me start it off this way.
Okay.
Yeah, let me start off this way. So you talked about stuff in the past, like from 2018. I think you showed some stuff from 2020 and, you know, me being a little grumpy in some of my replies. Okay. Fair. And I will apologize to you for that. I will, sincerely. Because that is never my intention to be that way. Especially back then, whatever. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. So to address some of the stuff that you talked about, you know, as far as me saying that you disliked me, yes, that was the impression that I got because my memory was, and you obviously showed some examples there, there was a lot of Stadia talk back then. And I want to give you some background on why I was so harsh on Stadia is because they pulled me in for early access. I kind of got a peek behind the curtain at the time, right? And I was one of the people screaming from the rooftops, this will not work in its current form. You cannot release it this way. So I probably was saying a lot of that stuff publicly as well, because I'm watching it happen in real time. You know, GeForce Now obviously started to come around at that time. You know, xCloud was in early days, stuff like that. So I'm seeing what, from a latency standpoint and from just a future architecture standpoint, infrastructure standpoint, great. Your implementation of it and your business decisions, terrible. And that was kind of my main thing coming on it. So it probably was yourself and other people were constantly trying to tell me how wrong I was about what was going on with Stadia. And I'm like, no, trust me, this is not going to work. And then obviously it didn't work. But for anything that I personally offended you by, I apologize for that because I want to be clear on something. I never go into anything purposely trying to offend anyone or being mean or whatever. Now, if you poke the bear, I am absolutely going to poke back. I want to be clear on that. So we can get into the reforge stuff and you can ask me whatever you want. But that's probably where some of that stuff comes from. So truly, sincerely, I do apologize because that's never my intention. And I'm going to say this too. I reached out and obviously saw your comments. Look, when it's one of us, I care. Because we should all be working together. And I mean that. So whenever I see one of us upset at me, I reach out. I absolutely do. I talk a lot privately, and this will lead into the reforge stuff. I don't put my business on Front Street. When you do see me put something on Front Street, it's because nonsense happened privately. And we can get into the reforge stuff on why I said what I said today. But that's why I was like, oh no, I'll DM you. We can talk, you know, and, you know, I would have been more than happy to just do a private conversation, but I also am not afraid to talk publicly, whatever, because I have nothing to hide. So I heard a lot of stuff that you said about things that I've talked about. And while they were absolutely the words that came out of my mouth, there's reasons behind it. And I want to open it to you to ask me, because like I said, I would rather directly answer some of your questions versus me just, you know, monologuing about this stuff. Because like I said, I genuinely want to have a conversation about it.
Okay. So to be fair, to go over what you just said, you said that you were in a mood, which I kind of sensed, but I'll be honest, the mood was becoming more and more dismissive, not just over Stadia, but over time. I hope you were aware of that. And there's still some of that to this day where there's like,
I'm very authoritative in how I talk, and we can get into that, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, but before we get there, I do want to address this because this is something that it is fixated in my mind. I get where that's what you thought, but why would you say that I was upset with you because you weren't a Stadia fan?
Because that's what I remembered. That's what I remembered. And you're telling me I'm wrong on that. That's why I even said, if I'm wrong on that, I said it in the thing. If I'm wrong, my bad. Okay. I'm wrong. So that's why I'm apologizing.
And not to belabor the point, but you see, we're talking authoritatively about that and saying, I know you do, how that can trigger people to say, well, hold on, that's not the truth.
I get what you mean. Let's talk about the authoritative comments, because you touched on a few topics that, yeah, I definitely said it because it's what I thought at the time. But it's always convenient how people leave out what I've said since. Or the retraction, because you said that I'm dismissive on things, which is not true. So let's go into you don't spend $7.5 billion to keep things the same. I 100% said that. I stood on business when I said that, because I look at the industry and I try to read the room on where I think things are going and what's happening, right? So in 2020 and into early 2021, when I was saying that, nobody disagreed with me. And when I say nobody, so much so, Phil Spencer himself publicly acknowledged what I said, thinking I had some inside info and was in one of their meetings. Like, how do you know all this stuff, right? Because the point I'm making is, in 2020, 2021, 100% they acquired Bethesda to make all that stuff exclusive. And trust me, I know, because I stood on an Xbox stage and said it myself in a script. So that was absolutely the game plan. Now, when they acquired Activision, stuff started changing. And even if you go back and look at my comments when they initially said, I was like, oh man, they're gonna make Call of Duty exclusive. And then I kind of retracted on that. I'm like, that don't make no sense. Call of Duty's too big. There's no way they can do that. There's no way they're making Call of Duty exclusive, right? And then obviously all this nonsense with FTC, you start stuff changing. Again, people are very selective on what they want to pull out of things that I say, because I've said many times, after Activision, this got to be it. We have hit a red line. We cannot keep taking major publishers off the board. We're going to loot. We're going to consolidate too much, and the industry is not going to innovate because there isn't real competition. I've said that multiple times, but people conveniently forget that I say that, right? Now, the pitchforks comment. Again, I'm on XCast every week. Like, I'm in front of a camera talking to thousands of people every week, right? In the height of XCast. You got to remember, when that comment happened, it was all rumors at the time, because I'm not an insider. I purposely try to avoid that stuff. I like to talk on what I think is going to happen, not, oh, I secretly know this and I'm winking at the camera telling you stuff. So I'm not this insider that gets all this info. So when people are losing their minds saying all this stuff, I don't know. I'm just like everybody else. I'm just reacting to it. So that was my reaction, because I thought there was no way in hell they were going to put a Halo or Gears or Forza on a PlayStation. I'm like, that don't make no goddamn sense to me. So no, because if you go back when it was Horizon Zero Dawn, but when it was Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment and all that was the rumors, I was like, it ain't no big deal, whatever. And people got mad at me for that. Like, how dare you even be okay with 4 games going over, right? Because again, I did not think it would be the whole everything. And then I thought, at worst case, timed exclusivity. There would be a period of time this stuff would be exclusive on Xbox platforms, and then they would port it over to the PlayStation. Clearly, that is not the case today. So I was wrong in that, 100%. Again, people conveniently leave out when I have said multiple times, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong on that because I didn't think that was going to happen. Yep, I'm wrong. My bad. I have to own it. I stuck my foot in my mouth. I've said this multiple times. So it's not me dismissing it or, oh, whatever, stuff like that. Oh, I'm looking at the chat. Parris has been reading the room since 2020. No, I haven't. No, I haven't, because everything I said was spot on. Everything I said was spot on until a year ago.
Hey, I'm going to admit, the chat can be brutal. You might want to ignore them right now.
Oh no, I know, but see, this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm saying again, I don't run from the chat. I don't run from criticism or any of that kind of stuff, and that's what started the whole Twitter conversation. And we can get into the reforge stuff because I got a lot to say about that. But I don't run from criticism because I'm wrong a lot. But I will admit when I'm wrong. I guess it's the point that I'm trying to make here. And then, just going with the chat, when I see, little pot shots says, oh, you're an Xbox, you're this, you're that. It's not true either. I do just as much with PlayStation as I do with Xbox and Nintendo and Nvidia and Samsung and Ubisoft and EA on down the line. People pick and choose what they want to be upset about. So when I say Game Pass is the best value in gaming, it's because I believe it. I genuinely believe it. I buy Game Pass subscriptions for my children. They don't give them to me. I buy them. I have multiple Xboxes in my home that I bought. They're not given to me. You know, have I gotten things? Abso-freaking-lutely. I have. I don't hide it. I'm disclose it every time. You know, when I've hosted events for Xbox, when I've done commercials for Flight Sim and stuff like that, I disclose it. They pay me when I do that. That is not me hiding anything. I'm not a journalist. I'm not in the media. I'm just like you, brother. Honestly, I'm just a fan that loves gaming, that got lucky to get this opportunity to where I am. And I don't hide that. And I don't think I'm better than anyone or whatever. Again, can I talk authoritative when I truly believe something's going to happen? Of course I can. That's who I am. I can't deny that. That's just a part of my DNA of who I am. I do talk that way. But when I make mistakes, I own them. Right. And like I said before, you were pushing everything over. I don't know what that means. I gotta stop looking at the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, stop. Don't even look.
Yeah. Because it's distracting me. But the point I'm making on that is, you know, I own my mistakes, and I never, like I said, with the whole disrespectful thing, I'm willing to have a conversation with people. But when people come at me, insulting me, saying crazy stuff to me, I just ignore it. I ignore it. But if I know you, if I've had interaction with you, oh, you best believe a DM's coming, because we gonna talk 100%. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from. Because it was funny you brought up the James video, and we can go into the reforge stuff if you want. But like, this is the classic example of what I talk about and what I said to reforge today. That James dude has been on my neck for years because he just does not like me because I'm the Xbox guy, and anything that he can find on me, he posts. Do you know I have never interacted with him ever? You know what I did? I blocked him and I move on with my life because he doesn't matter to me. He is a random internet avatar online whose life is, I need people to pay attention to me, so I'm going to clip videos of people so they pay attention to me. Astro Cyborg obviously is another one. He does it to reforge. Do you know I only respond to Astro if he tags me on something and I see something that I think is nonsense? Other than that, I'm not promoting Astro. I don't quote tweet Astro. I don't do anything. If he tags me on something and I see reforge saying something that I know is not true, I'm going to respond. Well, because I know because I want to give you the backstory on reforge, and then you can ask me what you want to ask. Okay. I've known Lano for years. I used to go on his streams during the Destiny days.
Yeah, he told us
we used to have great conversations. You know, we had a dialogue less than a year ago when all this stuff was going on with you know, with Xbox and you know, and all that stuff, right? Yep. I've told him, and I said it again today in public, I don't judge him for the past stuff because we don't know the 100% truth. So I don't throw that in his face. I don't hold that against him. And the fact that, again, that's why I put the receipts. He's my friend on Discord. I messaged him. He saw it. He sees it. He ignored it. I DM'd him. Sorry, to me, that was not me scolding him. That was me seeing him lumping me, because he's arguing with Destin about something, and then he wants to lump everybody into one basket and saying, hey man, leave me out of it. That's what that was. So no, he did not say my name, but he included me in it. Not to mention, he'd constantly been trying to get me to debate this stupid exclusivity thing constantly, and tagging me and quote tweeting me, and he wanted the engagement. When, motherfucker, DM me, message me on Discord. Why do you need the public affirmation for that stuff? Have a conversation with me. We're grown. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you. This is what I'm telling you again. You ain't a random person on the internet. I know you. I know you. So you know how to reach me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I got you, Parris, and not to cut you off. I mean, I feel some type of way debating on behalf of reforge when honestly, and that's why I said there are multiple. There's your side, there's his side, and then there's the truth in the middle. And I'm someone in the middle. I've just heard your side. I've heard Reforge's side, and I can assess what likely happened in the middle, and I'll get to that. But when it comes to the debate thing, I can relate to that because it was like how I used to, in a friendly way, poke and press you about, well, why are you like the Xbox Series X? And you would actually engage, and because we're doing this publicly. We do this all the time. If it was a matter of, look, I don't want to have this discussion, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can see a better response being, hey, I don't want to have this discussion anymore. Let's forget about it. You know what I'm saying? I think you're taking it the wrong way, just like I admit, I think that he took the wrong way your DM. You know what I mean? I will admit that. He took your DM a little bit more sensitively than I would have taken it. But all the stuff that you just laid out to me, Parris, you probably don't know this, but he's already told us that. He's told this to his members. He's like, hey, this guy had my back. We had a relationship. It's just the way that he took your DM. He thought you were scolding him.
So let me pause you right there. So if he's saying that, he knows that. I just told you the same thing. Why aren't you going, hey man, that's a little harsh. Why are you DMing me like that? Why is there no conversation happening? You see what I'm saying?
Because
how am I supposed to feel? Hold on. You just said, oh, we got along, I had your back, all that kind of stuff. So if a friend or a good associate is coming to you and going, hey, I'm a little offended by that, because I didn't curse that. Again, read it. It's online. You can see exactly what I said to him. I wasn't cursing. I said, don't take the argument with one person and bring other people into it to try and prove a point. Because I will say again, what the accusation that he made is not true. And you said it yourself. I asked the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, why the hell would I buy an Xbox if you're putting stuff on PlayStation? So it's not like, oh, I'm afraid to ask questions. I asked what I felt needed to be asked. You also said I didn't ask enough. Fair. We only had a limited amount of time. I tried to ask what I thought was important, but let's not also forget what I also asked him back in 2023 about Redfall as well, and the complaints of the community and what needed to happen, all that. So it's not like, oh, I'm afraid to ask him anything, or, oh my God, I might lose access. I am, without trying to sound arrogant, and I'm sure people will think this is arrogant, I'm in a pretty good position in the gaming industry as far as having opportunities and the things that I've been able to do. I'm extremely lucky, extremely fortunate, thankful, and the whole thing, because I know it could all go away tomorrow. But there's no fear, and there never has been, of, oh my God, I'm like, you said you listen to Gamertag Radio all the time. What was I saying about Xbox during the 2010s?
Oh yeah,
I was extremely critical, extremely. Which I want to finish that point, which is why I'm able to work with Xbox as much as I have over the years, because they appreciate people that push back in a respectful way. And this is what I think people miss on the internet a lot. There is a way to be critical and respectful at the same time. That goes in this whole gaming thing and in real life, corporate America, the whole thing. You cannot agree on something. You can provide critical feedback, but you can do it in a respectful way. People want you to have the tiki torches out and yelling and screaming and all that. It's not how this works. It's not how this works. You can disagree with it all you want, whatever, but that's not how it works. That's why I do get to work with PlayStation. That's why I reviewed every piece of PlayStation 5 hardware, every PlayStation game and an accessory this entire generation. This is why I review Nintendo games. This is why I review Ubisoft games, EA, Xbox, on down the line, because I give my honest, critical feedback. If I love it, I'm going to tell you why I love it. If I don't like it, I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. I want to say this one last thing, because I get a lot of shit for this stuff. People, like, there was people that got mad at me because I praised Avowed. I told you exactly why I liked Avowed. And then you're seeing people play it themselves, pretty much saying the same exact things I said why I liked it. Where was that energy when I said I didn't like Indiana Jones? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, he's just going to toe the company line on everything, because he's afraid to lose access. I literally said their big game of December, I didn't like it, or I didn't like it enough. And I gave my reasons why. So it's like, people like to pick and choose. is the point that I'm trying to make. But please go ahead.
All right. To be fair, yeah, and that's why I was trying to find like double Dutch ways to jump in, but I went on for 37 days, so I'll let you go on for 24.
I know, that's why I had a lot.
let me say this. Perception 9/10 of the law. That's a famous saying that, you know, yep. I think we all live by if we do it subconsciously. So back to the this is not how it works thing. I just want to give you the gamer side of it. There is this is how it works for me, the content creator, to get in opportunities for myself, or this is how it works for me to decipher what's going on in the gaming sphere and give you the pulse of what's happening and why. And a lot of people feel, based upon what you said, when you say this is not how it works, they feel that you're positioning yourself in the way that you say things, absolutist, and it doesn't come true. And then, you know, it feels like that you're fluid in your movement on what you believe is going to happen, what you say is going to work out for said so company and so forth. And they feel like that you're looking at how it works for you, the creator, and how it presents opportunities for you versus how it works for you, disseminating facts and information to help gamers and consumers make the decisions that they make. Okay. Do you think that's a fair assessment, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't, because I'm and what I want to ask is give me an example of something like that.
Okay. Well, the pitchforks thing, where I get what you said. I understand that, but let me give you an example of that. Why I'm gonna be honest with you.
But hold on before you continue. But again, this is where people don't want to hear they only hear what they want to hear. You're not wrong to feel that way. I've never said no one shouldn't feel that way. So if you want to get the pitchforks and you mad that Halo and because I've said, again, go back to when I was on Frames Per Second with Skill Up and all them. I said it then. I go, if Halo and Gears, all that stuff that's going to be freaking weird, man. I'm not going to like it. I get it, but I don't like it. See, this is... people want, I don't know what people want from me other than I had an opinion. I don't disagree with anyone having that feeling, but I can't change Xbox's business strategy. They're doing it. So I'm a realist in that sense of, all right, I may not like it, but this is what they're doing. But continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, for instance, when you put out a tweet that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that says, hey, look, I don't get why people don't like this about Xbox or what they're doing, or this movement that's going on.
You got to find that one, brother, because that don't even sound like something I would say.
When it feels like that, you went, hey, look, Xbox is doing this and this makes sense, and they're doing something completely different, and oh, this makes sense. It feels like that what you're saying makes sense is fluid and it's not concrete. Like, I'll give you a prime example. I don't feel that PlayStation, and you may disagree with that I don't feel like PlayStation should do day and date on PC, because I feel like it rips their hardcore from the console.
I'm gonna pause you. I looked at the chat and I'm gonna pause you. So Kiri86, I literally just said my position changed. You get new information, your opinion will change. Something I said 4 years ago compared to what I said now has changed. I've owned that, and I've said it multiple times. So I don't get, this is where I'm saying, you see and hear what you want to see. And this is where I bring the reforge thing in and say he needs to either toughen up or stop doing this stuff, because you're going to get this criticism.
I got to interject here. And again, I'm not Reforge's, I'm not his Johnny Cochran. All right. But bro, you saw me when I went on for 37 days. I could have very easily looked at you and said, you had to toughen up when you said what you said.
In what way? In what way?
When you said that, you don't like me, and I know this in parentheses, and when you said that you didn't like me. No.
See, but here's the thing. A lot of people don't like me. People clip me and say stuff about me every day. Do you think I respond to?
You know what you sound like when you said that? And again, I don't mean this in a disparaging way. I'm just saying the parody in it is uncanny. You sound like Reforge.
No. You're missing my point. You're missing my point.
Go ahead.
He cares. I don't.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. just because you say a mean thing to me or clip a video of me on Twitter, am I not going to review a game next week? Am I not going to go to an event a month from now? Am I not going to do a show?
The issue, Parris, isn't whether you care or not. The issue is what you do publicly. And whether you care or not, you still went to your keyboard and you typed something that was false, in which you accuse him of.
Wait. You said, what did I type that was false? What did I type that was false?
Just went over it. You said that I didn't like you and I was upset with you because you weren't a Stadia fan.
But I gave you my reason why. Okay, and I am literally here having that dialogue with you. His
reasons why.
What was his reason?
His reasons was he felt like that your DM was a setup for a scolding DM where you wouldn't engage with him before.
And you know what I would say to Reforge, and you know what I would say to Reforge, and I would have said if he said that to me, get the fuck out of here. That DM was not scolding anybody. That DM was, you said something because you got in a little hissy fit argument with Destin, and then you tried to include the whole group. And this was me going, don't include the whole group because it ain't true.
Well,
so if that's me scolding someone, then sorry, I'm scolding you.
And Parris, that would be a fair response to say, because I don't think that the DM was scolding. But if I said the same thing to you about what you said, would that be fair as well? Like, you got to get the fuck out of here. It wasn't that serious, bro.
But do you see? Okay, so let's back up.
I don't see. I see nothing but parallel here. And chat, for those of you that let's not be mean to Parris. Okay, let's take off the troll hat.
I know the chat's just trying to get a rise out of me. But this is the exact point that I'm trying to make.
Let's be real. Is there anything unparalleled from what you just heard from Parris and his regards until?
No. I'm asking you and I are having that. Of course, the chat's going to say there is. I'm asking you, show me the parallel, because I'm actually trying to I'm literally here. So I'm having a conversation with you.
He didn't extend the olive branch to you to have a conversation, and you just rejected it?
Oh, no. Talk to me privately. Because that's where it started. Why does it have to be in public?
It didn't start privately. Why? It started publicly.
No, it did. It did because I reached out to him privately, and then he started talking on his thing, and I'm not responding to his DM. You have to do it in public. Why? And again, never said nothing until he tagged me today talking about come on his show. No. I'm not doing that. And
I don't think he said come on the show. I think he said
yes, he did.
You guys can talk about it. I mean, I don't know.
No, he invited me to come on his show. Go back and watch it.
Okay, all right. But the parallels are, it did start publicly, Parris. It did start publicly because he felt like he tried to engage you, like how I tried to engage you, and he felt like that you.
What do you mean? How did he try to engage me publicly?
He tried to engage you about something that you two guys were talking about with exclusives, and you said it yourself that you were like, look, I'm not trying to engage this with exclusives. And he felt like that your response was dismissive. Like you were just trying to shoot.
What was my response?
I don't have it. You got it. That's where the conversation went.
I know what it was. And again,
what was it?
This is true because unlike him, I talked to devs. I responded and said, exclusives are not bad, but the truth is devs want their games in as many places as possible to make as much money as possible. That is the reality of the business side of this industry. And
that's where you're speaking, Parris. I haven't spoken to as many devs as you have. Sure. I've spoken to devs that work with Ubisoft. Look, I was having stuff slowly or control leaked to me by someone high up in Google. All right. It was to the point, and then I get where you're coming from, where you said you were on stage with notes and all this other stuff. I was in similar situations where I was shown developer emails and shit like that. And the reason why
I wasn't shown emails, I'm talking to the actual people that make the decisions.
And I'm talking to developers too. I'm shown emails, and I'm having something slowly from a high representative at Google out of their office, right? And I handled things differently from you. This is why I say I can understand the perception where people are like, you're working more toward, this is the perception. No, the perception is 9/10 of the law, but it may not always be right. The perception is that you saw or you had a conversation with someone in charge and you took what you heard for gospel because that was the plan. I was in a similar situation. It wasn't
just one person.
Okay. I was in a similar situation where I saw the actual plan from Google and other people had saw it too, and they were running with it, and I sat on it. I said, nope, I'm not running with it. And to this day, I never ran with it.
Kind of straying away from the point of this, because this isn't about a thing of, oh, well, I saw this or I saw that. Saying is, this is centered in. I responded with what I see as a reality of the industry. So again, I will say again, if he really wanted to have a real good faith conversation, he'd hit me up. But that's not what he wanted.
That's the way you perceived it, just like you perceived what I said a certain way.
Well, then how come when he wanted to really have this heart-to-heart conversation, about everything that was going on a year ago and really wanted to give his side of what happened to him with Bungie and all of that, he was very quick to reach out to me. Should I show you those messages too?
That he was quick to reach out to you.
This is the point that I'm trying to make here. You don't get to, I want to be your buddy when, you want to get something off your chest. But then because now you want to do this stupid console war thing, you want to lump me into a group and make a wild accusation that isn't true.
How you
hold on. And then when I hit you up with the message that you can see I said, you purposely ignore it. So what's up with that? How's that any good faith?
Like I said, from his perspective, and
it's amazing to me that you're being his lawyer right now, but go ahead.
I mean, I told you I didn't want to be his lawyer, but brother, you got to be honest here. You had a lot of pent up energy and you kept saying over and over again, and I mean no harm by this, I want to talk about Reforge. So when we're talking about Reforge, unfortunately, I had a whole other kit and caboodle to talk about. I don't really want to legislate Reforge because I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said in my earlier comments, I'm one of the people that probably made one of them of many that probably went to Reforge and said, bro, the side that you're trying to reach out to, they either don't get what your intentions are or they have no intentions of
because
doing
he
a
comes
good
off because you know how he talks.
You gotta let me finish, Parris. Hold on.
All right.
I said you don't have they don't have good intentions with you or they don't understand what you're trying to do. Scrap it. Just scrap it. This is going down a rabbit hole that is going to lead to nowhere, and it's just a distraction. And I'm not saying that I'm responsible for it, because who am I? I'm just a lonely, small content creator. But I'm pretty sure there was a lot of us that regularly talked to him that convinced him to do what he did, and that's why he did what he did. It wasn't no tabloid stuff. Again, people are their own people. They have their own personalities. I just sat here and listened to you give your reasons on why you did what you did, even though I have some of my skepticisms about the things that you said absolutist, and I can respect that. But you are refusing, and maybe this is something you can meditate. And I hate to sound, like I'm Bishop Donald Ward or something like that, but maybe you can meditate on this later, that you can see the parallels and say, you know what, maybe I could have engaged in a conversation.
I tried. That was why I messaged him twice.
Didn't you just say that?
So how is that? So hold on. How is me messaging him twice privately, not me trying to engage in a conversation that did not need to happen in public view?
And I didn't, and God, I did not want to legislate this for Reforge. But another thing that you don't realize is that, and he actually got help from his followers. He doesn't receive DMs on Discord. So when he saw your tweet,
that's false, and I can show you right now. You want me to show you right now? False.
No, you sent him he said this. There's actual video of this. You sent him a DM at a time
Let
where
me see if he blocked me. No, I'm not even blocked.
Hold on. Let me. You're asking a question. I'm trying to answer for you. He's had DMs set up at a time, and you guys were having a discussion when the whole thing of cancel Lono was going on, right? Do I have that right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, because I didn't talk to him. I didn't talk to him at all when all that was going on. So that's false too.
Okay, so what? Okay, I may have.
I only
wrong.
started to be clear. I only started talking to him pretty much a year ago, around February of last year. I talked to him,
and on Discord as well, because he had his Discord shut off. And when he opened up his Discord, I'm not saying it was shut off all the time. He said, I was getting too many messages on Discord. He said, I shut it off. And how do I shut this thing back on?
I'm messaging him on his direct person, not his channel, his person,
his DM,
the person.
He said at one point in time, he shut off his DMs and we helped him activate the DMs again. So he said, I didn't even
honestly, this sounds like a lot of excuses when I can see that he read it. So, okay.
But when did he read it though? Did he read it when you sent
February 20th, 2025
is when he read your DM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I don't have access to the DMs, but that's what he told us.
But because you keep trying to say it's this parallel. So I move in private. I don't move in public. Okay. This is the point I'm trying to make to you again. Mm-hmm. The amount of people that I've talked to privately, the list is endless. Mm-hmm. He them. So I'm not tweeting in public, quote tweeting, trying to make a spectacle. I'm like, hey, didn't appreciate the clip I saw, and I messaged you twice, and you ignored it. But hold on. But then you continue to talk about the fact that you got a private message publicly. So so that's good faith.
No, he was explaining it to his close circle that, hey, look.
Why isn't he explaining it to me?
Because he said that when he tried to engage with you publicly in the tweet, you were dismissive to him, and he took the Twitter.
I never. Okay, pause, and go pull the. Hold on, because we've never engaged.
Together. We can't talk together, Parris. You ask me a question every time I go to answer.
No, because you're stating something that's not true. So I'm trying to correct you before you continue. I've never replied to him publicly on Twitter. I quote tweeted something he said, but it wasn't directed at me.
I said DM on Twitter, brother. I said DM. When you DM'd on Twitter, he took that as you trying to scold him. Now, when you showed the DM earlier today, we came to a lot of us, not all of us, some of them, may have felt the way that he did, but I felt like, okay, that's Lono being Lono, and he took the DM as, probably more sensitively than a lot of us would have. The same way, this is where I'm making the parallel, the same way you took what I said too sensitively. That's the parallel.
But you know what the difference is? I'm here right now talking to you about it.
And you would have been talking to him too if you would have accepted it, the conversation.
But he never accepted my message privately.
Here we go.
See, you want it to be that he waited is March 15th. He waited a month to say something after he got to the point, obviously, of some kind of frustration or whatever, and realized, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said. I retract it, but could never say it to me privately. Again, he's acknowledged over this month he saw the private message. Okay. So at any point, he could have said something to me private.
You felt like I had a problem with you for a while, right? Since Stadia.
Did you message me and say
2019. And I admit it, I've sent multiple responses to you in regards to things that I was critiquing. Why weren't your DMs were never open to me? You never said I see. Hold on.
I'm about to answer your question.
Let me make my point. See, Parris, here's the problem that I think you need to meditate on, and I mean this respectfully. You're cutting me off before I make my point. You're coming to the assertion mentally that what I has to say just automatically nullifies because I think it's right. And you may not realize you're doing this, but you're doing this subconsciously. It may just be something subconscious, but as I go to make a point, I got to nullify it. I'm not even going to let them finish. And that comes off at times. And maybe we do have the wrong perception of why you do what you do. But again, we don't revolve around you. You got to, like I tell people close to me, you got to work the way the world works. Even when you mean something totally different from the way the world perceives it, you got to work the way the world perceives stuff. That's just the way that it is. I may not like it. You may not like it. A lot of people may not like it. But that thing that you have where it's like, no, I have the golden words. Shut it up. You may not realize it's coming out that way, but that's what it does, and that's what leads to the perception.
Can I respond now?
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, I'm definitely going to stop trying to jump in and correct when I think I hear something incorrect. So I apologize again. This is why I'm here, because I'm trying to have a real conversation. Okay. The only reason I was jumping in is I wanted to just explain that the way I handle social media, just so you know. So it wasn't a malicious, oh, I'm just ignoring you, I think I'm better than you kind of thing. Number one, unless I follow you, I don't see your reply unless I go looking for it. Number one. Number two, you can't DM me unless I follow you. So there never would have been an opportunity on social media for you to DM me. And the other thing I was going to bring up was if you absolutely needed to contact me, I keep my business email in my profile. So you could email me if you definitely wanted to talk to me, if it was that important to talk to me. So I just wanted to clarify that if you were trying to reach out to me, if you were saying things to me in public on a reply, I probably didn't see it. Now, with that said, I remember, and I don't remember the exact things, but somehow, some way I came across your channel one time and you were talking something about what I said, and then it went to members. So I never saw what the full conversation was. And this is the point I'm trying to make again. Okay, you got an issue with me. That's fine. You move on. It wasn't, I needed to, scold you or message you or whatever, because this is the point I keep trying to make again. Just random people on the internet that I don't know, I am unbothered when they say the things that they say, because number one, you don't know me. You've never had a real conversation with me. Like I said at the top, the reason I even responded to you right now is because I know we had some previous dialogue way in the past, and I knew there was some perceived animosity there, right? And I did want, and I did, I was like, this cat don't like me. So that's why I said it definitively the way that I said. You corrected me. And what did I do? Again, you can pull it up. I said, if I'm wrong, my bad. And then I also said, hey, we can have a conversation. Because again, I'm not immune from criticism or admitting when I'm wrong about something, right? Like I have that humility, or at least I think I do, So this is why we're talking right now. And again, I'm apologize for the cutting off stuff. It's just when I hear something, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's not how it goes. Let me explain. That's why I'm jumping in. So I'm definitely going to try my damnedest to stop doing that right now. Because again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I want to be clear on that. I'm 100% listening to what you're saying, because, if that's the perception that I have, I want to understand it. I want to learn it. I want to grow from it and be better, but I will bring the reforge thing back in. He not give the same courtesy to me that I'm giving you right now. And that was the thing. It was, I messaged you. You decided to ignore it. You kept talking. You kept saying these things that I'm letting you know wasn't true. I told you, hey, that's not true. See, this is my thing. If I'm telling you privately, hey, man, that's not true. Let's talk. That's what I'm telling you. So I can explain to you why I don't think it's true. But that's not what he wanted. So that's where that came in for me. So then when you go through this back and forth and people are, because it ain't just me. Obviously, he has a lot of detractors out there, right? Going back and forth. And I guess he got to the point where, I don't know if someone said something to him privately or whatever, he came to this realization, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, you goddamn right you shouldn't have done that, because you can't, everything that you complain about, you literally just did to me, was the whole point. And I did reach out to you privately. So to now invite me, hey, I got to come on your show and basically like I'm on trial, I have to defend myself. Absolutely not, because I didn't do anything wrong. And I think that was the whole point that I was trying to make. And we would have had that conversation, but he chose to ignore it.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, I got you. I understand that. And you know what? I understand that. Here's where I'm coming at. You said we're having a conversation because you reached out to me. I don't look at it that way. we're having a conversation because I felt like entertaining that, and I don't mean that in a mean way or I'm a big bad wolf type way. Like I said, I was just joking around. Don't run up on me like Stephen A. Smith Parris. Don't run up on me like LeBron did Stephen A. Smith Parris. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to be.
And I pause you, and I don't mean to interrupt you because I want to give some context because I know there's a Dreamcast guy thing. Here's my thing when it comes to that.
Yeah,
I am the same person behind this microphone that I am in person. So if you say some sideways shit to me online and I see you in real life, I'm going to confront you and we're going to have that conversation. So people spun that into, you're a bully, you're this and that. And it's like, no, don't say a bunch of bullshit online. And then when I see you in person, apologize going, oh, my bad. Oh, I'm just trying to pay the bills.
C-Fresh 2180, I get where you're coming from. I'm going to read a couple of comments real quick. We'll have Parris respond to them. I see where you're coming from, but no, a lot of us said, look, this is going in, you have one intention, and I felt like Parris had another intention. And what you want to happen, Reforge, a lot of us felt like this is not happening. And it wasn't no tabloid stuff, even though that's, I know that's the moniker. No, it was. Look,
because I said it and I stand on that.
Well,
I will continue to say that.
If that's how you feel, fine. I feel like that's false framing. You're allowed to have that opinion and that perception, but I am going to.
He had an opportunity to conversate about that.
I'll speak on that. But. Look, he did it, I believe, because I think a lot of us went back and said, this is not, you guys have two different intentions with this, and this is not pointless. This is a distraction. You need to do your thing, let him do his thing, and then y'all just, y'all just separate for a little bit. This ain't going nowhere. Y'all just spinning hands, and we're going to be here all night. It's not even worth it. Just go to your corners. That's what I think the unified message was, and then I think he did the right thing in doing it. So that's my assessment of it. Now, in regards to, I think this is what and I'll let you respond to this, and then I'll respond afterwards, and I'll shut up. Alias Savici says, why does Parris feel entitled for people to adhere to his way of having discussions, but he refuses to have discussions the format others want? So
because it didn't need to be in public. It didn't need to be. Why does it have to be for an audience? Why does it have to be for your entertainment? That's how you're perceiving
why can't?
Hold on, because I'm answering the question. Why can't two grown adults have a conversation that isn't for public view? That's the way I work. I always work that way, and I will never change on that. So if that's a problem for the internet, sorry.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna tell you how I work, Parris. And again, I'm not the Dalai Lama, I'm not the Almighty, but something to meditate on. Normally, Parris, the old MM2K came out of, I really like this guy, and I'm going to do something for him that I normally don't do. I normally don't do this. My chat will tell you, you false frame me, that's the worst thing you could do. I would have went live and talked all types of shit or whatever. Not saying that you would care, but that's what I normally do. I came out of my comfort zone and communicated with you and gave you a chance in a way that I never would have under these circumstances. And I think it's fair to meditate on, could I have done the same way? Now, I understand where it may be hard if you genuinely think that this is all tabloid or whatever, but I'm coming from someone, and I swear to you on everything that I love, check out the content. I wouldn't give anybody else this opportunity, and I gave it to you. So as someone that has done that, even as uncomfortable it was for me at first to do that, if you're dealing with someone who in those situations may move a little bit awkwardly, they don't mean anything nefarious, they're just awkward, that's a possibility. Think that, instead of it being tabloid, even if you don't engage with them, it doesn't have to be that they're tabloid, it's just they're awkward, they move in a way that you don't feel comfortable with, but they actually had non-nefarious intentions. I'm just putting that out there. And again, I feel like I have the righteous indignation to do that, because I'm telling you, brother, and hey, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. I'm giving you an opportunity I've never given anyone. And I can count about a dozen people that have done this to me, and I've just gone nuclear. And I'm being honest. Just being honest. Not that you care, but.
Honestly, I care in the way of, like I told you at the beginning, you know, I don't like when we argue with each other, which again is why I'm here. But in the grand scheme of things, if you would have just refused, well, I ain't gonna talk to you. I was like, all right, moved on with my day, you know, because I'm gonna continue to do what I do, you know, for as far as the content that I make, you know, the podcast that I do, all that, because there's no reason not to. You know, I am talking to you because, again, you expressed how you felt about something that was not true, that you said was not true. And I'm not a person that's going to sit here and just go, well, F you then. No, I will have that conversation. Let's clear it up. That's why I'm here.
And just something to think about. I'm sorry not to cut, but not something to think about, because you didn't do that automatically. I let you know about some things that I was, you know, disagreed with for a while that you probably felt like wasn't true. And 6 years later, you did, but you did it. That's the point. You did it. So just some food for thought. Even if you don't have the conversation, I think the framing, just for the sake of accuracy, because now I'm hearing both sides. I hear your side, how you genuinely feel, and I heard his side, how he genuinely feel. I won't say that you didn't genuinely feel that way. I may not agree why you came to that assessment, but I feel like you genuinely felt that way. I'm telling you how he genuinely felt.
So can I say this?
Go ahead, brother.
Why is he a victim? Why does he get? Because let me say this part. Why is he a victim? Why does he get to say? Because this is what started all of this. He's going back and forth with Destin. And again, look, the Astro Cyborg stuff. I get tagged in and I see it. I'm gonna watch it. Right? He's going back and forth with Destin. So then I got nosy and I'm like, ooh, let me see what's going on here. Right? So then I'm seeing where he generalized everyone that did the Phil Spencer interview is astroturfing and they're afraid to lose access and all this stuff. However he said, I'm paraphrasing. That, without saying my name, you said my name, because only 3 groups of people spoke to him, right? So you're obviously including me in that. So then this is me. Hey, I've spoken to him privately in the past. Let me hit him up. Let me let him know, hey, I took offense to that. That isn't me yelling at him. I didn't yell. Again, you admitted, obviously, you didn't even think what I said was that crazy. So when you don't respond to that, that tells me, hey, obviously what I say don't matter to you. Did I go on a Twitter rant? Was I publicly tweeting and saying a bunch of crazy stuff? No. It just so happened a friend of mine was complaining about him and I made a response. I said, that dude's a tabloid. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing all this other stuff. He's ranting and raving again. But at no point was I publicly going after him. I messaged him twice in the same day in 2 places. He didn't respond. I let it go. So if that's how he moves, if that's his awkward thing, it's like, bro, you can't be on a platform talking about other creators and making accusations about them and generalizing them. And then if one of them actually approaches you, just ignore it, because it wasn't for public consumption. It was between me and him. You see what I'm saying? Why? This is what I'm trying to understand, because you keep defending that side of him. Why couldn't it be private? I'm not defending it, Parris. Because you're saying that you couldn't know.
But I'm making the parallel. I'm not just like me, MM2K. I wouldn't have done what either of you would have done. So I'm not defending anything.
But that's fine. But I guess what I'm saying is, then a month later, hey, I retracted, come on my show. I'm supposed to be receptive to that? I'm okay. Well, no, I'm not.
Okay. And that is how you perceive it. I'm just saying how he perceived it was you were dismissive to him publicly. He felt like that you were sending him a Twitter DM.
What was I? Okay, back up, because you got upset at me before when I was cutting you off, and I don't mean to. You keep saying I was dismissing him publicly. How, where, and why?
He perceived the important thing here, and this is why I will make the parallel. He believed that you were dismissing him publicly when you guys were talking about exclusives, however that went down.
We weren't, though.
Felt like,
I wasn't.
Now that's how you perceived it. That's fine. And he perceived it, honestly, he perceived it a different way. So his thought process was, and again, you may not think the way that he thinks. I don't think the way that you think, but you may not think the way that he thinks. He thought that you were dismissing him publicly, and when you sent him a DM, you were going to scold him, and that turned him off. Next thing he knows, you and Khalif are sitting there making fun of him. And this is how he's perceiving it, calling him bat boy and all this other shit. So that's how he's taking it, and that's how he saw it. So, you know what I mean? And
okay,
just
that's fine, but there wasn't a conversation. And again, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
There was never a conversation. Please show me where that happened. I have not had a conversation with him about exclusives. He may have been ranting and raving about it. I know he got into it with Thomas. That was that made Ori that's doing the new game now. I never, hey, Reforge exclusive. I've never said no. I saw something he said and quote tweeted my opinion, but there was never a conversation. So if that's me dismissing him, hell, I get dismissed every day.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that because he was having a conversation about something, it was mandatory for me to respond to him in public. And I will state again, he has access to me privately. So if it was that important and his feelings were that hurt, he could have messaged me. That's all I'm saying. So
can I tell you?
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I'm done. Go ahead.
Let me tell you of a situation that I had a while ago when I was making Stadia content. There was me and this other, and believe it or not, the Stadia community was a lot of them I love, but a lot of them were weirder than the crumb side. And I had this one content creator who constantly would subtweet me. Like I would go and make a podcast about something and he didn't agree with what I said. So he would make this subtweet about me. And I'm like, bro, why don't we just talk generally or talk directly? And we were on a podcast together and we actually had to discuss the thing that we didn't agree upon. And nothing, the person knows who they are. And I don't mean to be mean when I say this, but the motherfucker started hyperventilating after it was over. And everybody was like, oh God, what was wrong? Oh, that bothered me so much all week. Oh, no, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, that was peculiar. That was strange. But that's how the person was. And as much as I chuckled and huckled about that behind the scenes, that person genuinely felt anxiety about that, right? Now, again, I may have thought it was sensitive. I get where you're coming from, where you're thinking a lot of this stuff is sensitive because you don't care about it or whatever. And I for some of the stuff, I may be a little bit prone to believe that it may be sensitive or whatever. But what I'm addressing is the genuine feelings that was expressed, regardless of how awkward it was. Just like I might have, that's where I'm making the parallel, where the genuine feelings that you expressed that I proved were wrong, I felt may have been awkward, but now you've come and you've addressed, regardless if I think they're awkward or not, how genuine they are. And I respect that. So I'm just saying, the only thing I can hope for as someone who has bent the knee and done something I wouldn't done for anybody else, I would just hope that, brother, you would, regardless if you say, you know what, that's too awkward for me to deal with, but they may be genuine how they feel. I don't feel the same way. That's the only thing we can hope for. And then everybody just disengage. You know what I'm saying? But,
no, I'm already disengaged. I said my piece.
But if you still feel like that it was you know what I mean? But I believe you me. I heard both sides. I get both genuine feelings. And that's my assessment of it, which I feel like comes down the middle.
Yeah, okay. and that's fine. That's fine. I mean, honestly, really could care less about Reforge. I came on here to talk to you. Okay. Because again, I wanted to make it clear that if I did things to offend you, I apologize for them. Because that's the type of person I am. As far as Reforge goes, he made his bed. He can lie in it. You know what I mean? If you want to reach out to me one day and have an actual conversation and stop doing this tabloid shit, we can do that.
It's not.
But until then, it's like whatever. I know it's not going to happen, and that's fine.
Parris, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. and excuse my French. If I would have been, because I was just having this conversation in the Discord, I said, no, I don't want to have a motherfucker bitch conversation. We're going to have, I'm a granddad. I don't know if you are, but I think we're close in age.
Yeah, I better not be. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to have a civil conversation. I want to step aside from the non-safe from work stuff that I do from time to time and just have a conversation with someone that I disagree with on a number of things, right? But had I been like, you motherfucker bitch all on Twitter, fuck you, this, that, or the other, would you have come on here?
Nah.
Be honest. Okay. All right.
No, absolutely not. That was the point I was making before. If you're going to be disrespectful to me like that, no, I'm not. Why would I waste my time?
Do you understand the comedy in saying, yeah, we can have a conversation, but if this motherfucker will do that tabloid shit, do you understand that?
I'm just talking to you. I would not say it to him that way.
Bro. You know he's going to hear this.
That's on him.
Come on, man.
Bro, let me explain something to you.
Go ahead.
He already made his bed. He can lie in it. If he does not like my tone, that's on him. Because again, I reached out to you since you said he's going to hear this. I reached out to you privately. You're the one that thought you didn't feel a need to respond to it. I do not buy the excuse of, oh, my feelings were hurt and oh, you scolded me. That's just an excuse, because everything I hear come out of his mouth is an excuse. I'm the victim. I get to say the craziest shit that I want about anyone, and the moment anybody pushes back at me, I'm all of a sudden the victim. This is why I also said publicly he ought to go audition for a role on The Young and the Restless as professional victim number 1, because that's what he acts like.
No,
and if he doesn't like it, this is what. Here, hold on. Let me finish, and I'm done. I'm done with Reforge after this.
Okay.
If he does not like what I have to say, because I just look, we're still friends on Discord. You can call me anytime.
Okay. So here's what I will say, and then like you said, I think it's time. I didn't want to spend this much time on Reforge because it ain't fair to him that he's not here, and I'm trying to talk on his behalf. I'm not his power of attorney. With that being said, what really teed him off is the retweet of Astro. Now I get that where Jamie
I didn't retweet Astro. When did I ever retweet Astro? I've never done that.
When Destin retweet Astro and then you responded to Astro. Now again, I'm just letting you know where he's coming from.
He tagged me, so I answered the question.
Okay. So but you so his perception of it is, and maybe you didn't, I don't know, but his perception of it is, and look, Jamie and Oliver and even J-Dub, they're trolls, just like you may have had.
J-Dub's my boy. We tight.
Yeah.
This is the point I'm trying to make to you. That's the. But I'm glad you brought him up. Can I say this and you continue? I'm sorry. Go People like J-Dub and all that roast me, I laugh. Gaz, all them, I laugh. Yeah. It's great. I don't have a problem with that stuff. I will say again, when you get personal with me, now we got a problem. This is why the Olivers and the Jamies of the world, I just ignore, because they're a waste of time.
But Jamie and you could take Jamie and Oliver and put them in a pot and multiply them by 1,000, and they don't equal Astro Cyborg. That shit is crazy.
Can I be clear? I agree.
Yeah, that's nuts. And
I agree. Let me say this. Let me say this about Astro, because I do not disagree, and I've said this multiple times. Do I think what he does is excessive? Yes. Absolutely. Do I condone it? Absolutely not. But if he's showing me something where it's not about him, it's about what the person is saying, I'm going to respond to that. And that's all I'm saying. So again, I've never retweeted him. I don't promote him. I don't anything.
But people are going to see your tweet and what you're responding to, and then that feeds him. There's people that have said stuff that I'm like, oh, that shit is crazy. But the character themselves is just way beyond me even acknowledging. And I just subtweeted. I subtweet like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to. So that's how it's being looked at, as in, you guys, actually, as much as you think that he's tabloid and he doesn't have respect for you, he said some very kind shit about you and said he looks at you as like being the creme de la creme, and really beyond.
So then why didn't he respond to the message then?
Because
see what I'm saying? You don't get it both. You don't get it both ways.
I explained to you how he perceived the whole situation and why he didn't respond. To you, it doesn't make any sense. But to him, that's how he reacts to stuff. Just like to me, this is where I'm making the parallel. It made no sense for you to come off the way that you did about what I said. But you did, because you're Parris. I'm MM. We're not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So he said the things about you and said, look, I look at these guys as the creme de la creme. That's what I think really insulted him, is he looked at it. Again, I'm not saying you did. He looked at it as you propelling Astro Bot. And I cannot kind of understand that, because when I see crazy shit like that, or when I see crazy sources like that, even putting out something that I agree with, I just subtweet about it. I don't even reference them. So that was the perception there. But I'm going to give you the final word on Reforge. And then, like you said, we can move on from Reforge if you still got time.
My only final word on him again, and yeah, let's please move on from this, is you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to sit on your platform and throw out accusations about people. And then if they respond, all of a sudden we're attacking you. It's not how this works. And just like you said, if you have such high regard for me and I reach out to you privately, again, read the message for yourself. No one's scolding you. That's an excuse in my opinion. You were afraid to answer the question. Why? Because again, why did you retract it then? You knew it was wrong. You knew you shouldn't have been talking out of your ass about something you didn't know anything about. Don't tell me what I think, because that's what you did. And yeah, that offended me. And no, you didn't name me directly in that instance, but you generalized an entire group, which included me, which is what my message addressed. Because I even said, I ain't even trying to get into the stuff with you and Destin. I ain't taking no sides, but I am offended by you generalizing the way that you did. Because again, you talk about platforms, you talk about gaslighting, things like that. Your audience, look at your chat even right now. Your audience is gaslit off of your words, of the things that you're saying. So now they build a perception about the person, right? So now you have a reputation as a result. And it's a reputation that was not true. And that's all I'm saying. I reached out to you privately. Nobody was talking shit to you in person, or in person in public. Nobody was saying anything crazy. You decided to be the one to start that. And sorry if your rants about exclusivity I was ignoring and staying out of. Yeah, because they made no sense. And again, if you would have talked to me privately, we could have had a whole ass conversation about why you were wrong. Because you even kept bringing up Death's Door and making out false information about that you were wrong about. So this is the point that I'm making. You can't just constantly run out on your platform saying a bunch of stuff. It's incorrect. And when someone tries to correct you on it, you're being attacked. You're clutching your pearls. Sorry, I don't buy it. I feel like you're just making excuses because that's what you do. So that's it. And I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to leave. We're going to leave him out because it's not fair to him. Like I said, he's not.
No, it's not. He got my Discord. He can call me right now because he's probably watching. You can call me anytime he wants.
I doubt it.
I know, because that's the point. That's the point.
You just don't know, brother. But we'll leave it at that. He's not. Okay. All right.
Oh, that's fine.
All right. So, okay. So now me and you. I brought up, and I want your explanation, quote unquote, on the people that feel that are in this chat. There, and I don't. You were referencing to the other. I would just say the other chats where people build a perception about you, and now that's gaslighting you, whatever. Do you think that these are people that just happen to have the same assessment about the things that you have said and how you've addressed them, and they just congregate together? You think that that's a possibility, or do you think that that for the most part it's people being spoon-fed perceptions about you that aren't true?
I think it's more of the latter, in my opinion. Here's what I'll say. Do I think, just people in your chat are randomly coming to that? But no, you're seeing a clip. You're seeing partial information. And then you build an opinion on that, as any person would. And I don't fault anybody for that. I want to be clear on that. That's fine. Again, I'm fine with criticism, but I will defend myself. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you my side. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to believe it or not, which is fine. You know, I also understand it's, I don't want to say a small minority, because that's not even fair, but you know, it's vocal people. It's social media, right? I mean, I definitely hear way more people that understand the things that I'm trying to say or my perceptions on things than people that are against it. Let's put it that way. And I'm not saying that as a thing of, I need to dismiss the people that disagree with me, because I don't. That's why I said before, I like criticism. I like critical feedback, because it's how you get better. It's how you learn. Oh man, maybe I should say that better. Oh damn, maybe I shouldn't talk that way. You know, maybe, you know, you learn from it. The one thing that I will say to anyone is I don't lie. When I say something, I mean it. If I'm proven wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. And I mean, it's as simple as that. So the people that get upset with me about me being positive about stuff that Xbox does, again, you clearly don't know the history behind me, because I was not always that way. But they have done things that I like. They've done things that I don't like. Am I, as I've said in recent times, do I agree with the current multi-platform? The hardware is going to be sold on innovations. Do I think it'll work? Probably not. So we'll see. That's kind of how I look at it. But I do try to look at the silver lining in this. I was like, man, they got a lot of freaking games I want to play coming. So maybe I should focus on that instead of just repeating the same things over and over, because they're doing it whether I agree or not. And I think that rubs some people the wrong way, where they think they want me because, you know, obviously I'm a bigger voice that people pay attention to. They want me to be vocal constantly about the negative things. And what they don't realize is my opinions get heard. Do I always speak them out in public? No. And I get that some people want me to do it more, but like I said, I literally just talked to the CEO and I asked him the question. So I don't know what else people want. Or like I said, when we go back to 2023 with the whole Redfall situation and just the state of Xbox at that time, you know, I asked the questions. So it's not a thing of I won't ask the questions. And I've talked outside of Xbox to other developers and other things, like obviously all the stuff that's going on with Ubisoft and all that right now. It's like, you know, I am vocal about these things. I see the negative side of the industry. You know, I'm not a fan of all the layoffs that are happening. The industry's consolidated too much. You know, they overhired and now you got all these people, you know, getting laid off constantly. Not a fan of that stuff. But my thing is people keep wanting to focus on this console war stuff. And this is where I say you hear and see what you want to see, where I don't care about exclusivity and I never have. Again, roll the tape. But I understand why exclusivity happens. This is why I say I think there's a misconception about the Xbox stuff. What I said about Bethesda at the time. I understood, like, yeah, they're doing it because it's going to give them a competitive advantage to get more people to buy Xboxes and subscribe to Game Pass. That's what I've said the entire time. The video's still on my channel. You can pull it up and watch it for yourself. At no point did I say, yeah, let's ruin PlayStation. I hate PlayStation. I love PlayStation. I play PlayStation games all the time. Hell, my game of the year was Astrobot. You know what I mean? So it's like, but people want to ignore that stuff. Like they only want to see what quote unquote their side is versus seeing both sides of a conversation. So long-winded answer, I know.
No, it's okay.
But,
it's okay.
But I
response, but go ahead.
Yeah, I get the criticisms and I take them. You know, I get it 100%. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your response.
Okay. I like this vibe because I don't get to wake up my wife and she punches me like Conquest. Because I'm not.
Oh man, that was so good. That was so good.
Fucking God. Like we need to start getting 12 episode shows again. We really do in the animation. But I don't want to geek out. We could do that privately, Parris. We ain't got to get along. We can't get along publicly. Anyway, it's not good for my channel. No, I don't care about that. I don't care about that shit. Anyway. But okay, here's where I'll say that in my opinion, you're wrong. because here's what it is. And I don't think, and again, this is not me trying to glaze you. This is not me trying to butter your biscuits or come on to you or take you from your wife or none of that shit. You know, excuse me, I'm married. I know you're married. You're married too. But I mean this sincerely. And people that are in this chat or whatever have debated me on this. I do think that you, and they can vouch that I've said this, I do think you're extremely talented. I've been following you for a long time, maybe almost a fucking decade now. And at the height of me appreciating your talent, I heavily disagreed with you. That's why when I showed you the tweet where you were like, what, why do you feel that way? Because I love the banter. I love the opportunity. I love the diversity of thought, because I'm someone who grows knowing that I'm learning something new that I never thought of before. And you get that from people that think differently from you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm someone that wakes up every day and wants to learn something new. So when I was following Parris way back in the day, the Parris that sat out there boldly at E3 2013 and said, yeah, that motherfucking Xbox, the Bro box, the shooter box, PlayStation took this, it's their exclusive and all that other stuff. That's the Parris that I'm used to, even though I didn't agree with you. The Parris that a lot of these people that are being critical now, that's the Parris that they're used to. They may be employing a lot of, and I don't call it console war, I call it fanboy tactics. You had the great Peter Moore in your show, and Peter Moore is infamous, as you know, is infamous as referring to the console war as its original construct, the competition between the two, between the multiple platforms. That's what I refer to as the console war. The bullshit that we see with people carrying flags, I refer to as fanboyism. So you may see a lot of people reverting to current day fanboyism, but a lot of them were like me. They were following the infamous Parris Lilly for the last 10 plus years. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This Parris Lilly that's talking about, I don't care about exclusives, that wasn't the same Parris Lilly at that motherfucking 2013 E3. That wasn't the Parris Lilly that when I would call up and say this about Xbox, man, get that shit, proverbially, get that shit out of here. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, MM2K. And I respected that. And we a lot of us feel that, well, there's no other way but to say it. And I want your thoughts on this, because I even pondered on this. We asked tough questions here. A lot of us remember when you were on Gamertag Radio and you said, you know what? I really feel like I can do more in gaming. Not that you're relieving Gamertag Radio, but I feel like I can do more. I want to do more in gaming. That's my aspirations. And then it felt like to a lot of us that Xbox opportunities popped up. And once the Xbox opportunities popped up, the perception was that Parris Lilly from that 2013 E3 was started to dissipate and not be for the things that you were before. Now, maybe it's because of things that you saw behind the scenes, but a lot of people perceive it was because of the opportunity. And so you were changing your tone. And I'm going to be honest with you while I have you here. I thought that too. So again, to be fair, not to just shoot a whole bunch of accusations, I did want to present to you the perception, but to that perception, what do you say to those that felt that way or those that feel this way to this day?
I think there's some incorrectness in some of the things that you said. So let's go back to 2013. So I think you're a little bit incorrect in what you were talking about even then. Okay. Because if you go back to that E3, it was me right after the Xbox press conference. I'm like, look, unless PlayStation doing the same thing, I don't know what the hell they're doing. This is crazy. You can't be bundling in this Kinect camera and charging people $500 for this. I don't know about this. And then later that night, you know, I'm in the crowd at honestly probably the biggest moment in gaming history when PlayStation announced $399 and this is how you share games, right? That was a pivotal moment in the industry, right? Walked out on camera, canceled my Xbox One pre-order right then and there because I'm like, I don't know what the frick they're doing. This is crazy. A year later, we're at E3. Phil Spencer is now the head of Xbox. Said it again, go pull it up. First thing out of my mouth, I don't like Kinect, and here's why. I've never been afraid to give my opinions about the things that I don't like about Xbox. Honestly, it wasn't until about 2016 when they started, ironically enough, doing Play Anywhere that I'm like, and I went to this spring showcase, and why they never publicly put this out, I don't know. Phil Spencer gave this keynote at this spring showcase. That is everything that they're doing today. And I'm not kidding. He said it then in 2016.
Yeah.
And I think that would have changed a lot of people's perceptions about where Xbox was headed back then. So then I started to see the vision of it. So to address your point about opportunities, it wasn't Xbox first. It was CD Projekt Red.
Okay.
I became prominent because of a viral moment of the first time I saw Cyberpunk 2077 at E3 2018. Danny filmed it and got my genuine reaction. I wound up getting linked up with CD Projekt Red guys. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the game. I wind up, it's the pandemic at this point. I hosted the launch event in 2020. And obviously people give me crap about the yellow chair and all that stuff. And even then, this is where I tell you perceptions. People are like, oh, you're bought and sold. They gave you a chair and you did this and you did that. I always tell people, go watch my review on Kind of Funny. I did not recommend the game. Like, I don't know what else I could do at that point, right? I'm giving you my honest opinion. This game is broken. Don't play it. I said it, right? So again, 2021, obviously more opportunities came. I wound up hosting the Xbox show, obviously, blah, 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 blah. I'm out on Kind of Funny. What I think, here's what I genuinely think has happened. I think because when I joined Kind of Funny, and now I'm on XCast every week, right, doing content. So you're hearing my in the moment opinion on stuff, and I'm now being held accountable to those things, which is fair. I'm not arguing that. I'm not making excuses for that. All I can do is when someone calls me on something, give you my perception on whatever it is now. So no, I don't think I've changed at all, because I'm always just going to call it like I see it, whether it's good, bad, in between, different, whatever. It's like I've told you before. I think depending on what your loyalties may be or what you're a fan of decides what portion of something I said that you want to pick out is what I think. Because everything that you've said to me now, or people that get upset about me, I'm like, yes, but here's the additional context to it. But I will also say, just like I said to you on social media, it's part of the job of being a publicly facing person. When you're publicly facing that way, when thousands of people pay attention, in public and private, because my God, you'd be surprised at some of the people that pay attention to some of the things I say, the messages I'll get. You got to be careful about it. I'm gonna tell you the story real quick.
Okay.
And this is where I learned, this has just happened a year ago. I learned, be careful on what you're talking about in public, because you never know what it's going to affect. So I went to Treyarch last summer, and I got to see Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies early, right? And I wound up doing it for IGN. You go watch the preview. It's my preview. I wrote it, the video, the voiceover, that's all me. Did it, right? I did it for IGN. So I'm there at Treyarch. Actually wound up off the record talking to various developers there, right? Studio head, the whole thing. And a conversation that was happening amongst the people that were there, that were invited to go, not people at Treyarch, just other content creators and media people. We were talking about the Game Pass licensing deal with PlayStation, right?
Like, I'm gonna let you finish the story.
Yeah. So I'm on Iron Lords a couple weeks later or whatever, just, because that's the fam. I hop on there with them every now and again. And I think Cog was talking about it, and I jumped in. Oh yeah, I was at Treyarch and blah, blah, blah. This is what I heard. Da, 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 da. It got clipped. The next morning, the grumpy, not message, phone call I got, I felt terrible, because they thought someone from Treyarch was saying that to me, and that I basically was betraying the trust of the studio. And I'm like, no, that's not how it went down. It was amongst the group. We were just talking. The way I probably said it was incorrect. My bad. I felt terrible, bro. I felt terrible the rest of the summer. I felt terrible until I saw that person the person that called me in person at the Game Awards, and we had a conversation about it. I just felt terrible because I put that person in a bad position, who's now getting yelled at by people higher than them. You know what I mean? So that taught me a lesson of be careful of the things that you talk about. And no, am I perfect even with it now? No, but I'm definitely mindful of private conversations stay private. They're not for public consumption. Now, my opinion, I'm gonna say whatever, because it's my opinion, and you can obviously hold me to that. And I'm long-winded, and you can jump in on this.
No, I am too, brother. That's why don't mind me going. Just go. Yeah, go ahead.
But the whole point on it is, I hear a lot of things, and trust me, I don't say a lot of it that I do hear, because I am respectful of that. Now, does some of that stuff sway my perception on the industry and how the industry works? Like I know how the sausage is made now. Like you bring up 2013 Parris didn't know shit. 2013 Parris didn't know a goddamn thing. 2025 Parris knows. I know how the sausage is made. You know, I've had those conversations. I understand how it works. So you may see me talking about some of this stuff in a certain way, and I get it. It upsets people. They get mad. Oh, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? Blah, 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 blah. Because I understand how the sausage is made in that way. Is that fair? Whatever. People can obviously not agree with that, but I've definitely changed in that way, 100%. But it's not about, oh, you got a free review code, or oh, you went to this event. Bro, all that stuff can go away tomorrow for me. I mean, like I said, you've followed me for a while. You know this ain't my day job. This ain't how I feed my family. So if it were to go away tomorrow, I will be fine. Trust me, I will be just fine. I do this stuff because I love it. That is why I do it, because I have a passion for it. And you are 100% correct. I did make that comment about I want to do more in this industry. I want to be able to do so, and I've had opportunities to be able to. So I tell you, I talk to a lot of devs and stuff. Like I've seen games early and been able to give my opinion and say, hey, do this, don't do that. I don't know about that. You know, like I've been in those rooms to have those conversations. I've had marketing people reach out to me or like, hey, we're gonna present this. What do you think about it? Should we do this? And I'm like, I don't know about that. Maybe you ought to add this in there, because if you add this, you know, people can be more receptive to it and understand the message that you're trying to say. So these are conversations that I have now. And obviously I don't openly talk about it all the time, because it ain't nobody's business to know about it, because that's not what the whole point of it is. So I'm being long-winded to tell you that 2013 Parris and 2025 Parris are definitely two different people, because I've grown and I've learned more about the industry, and that has absolutely shaped my opinion 100%.
Okay. So let me just to clarify that timeline that I gave, right? I said the 2013 Parris was like, hey, was really willing to criticize Xbox and was really aligned with the consumer. I felt like 2013 Parris was more aligned with, and a lot of people feel like 2013 Parris was aligned with the consumer. From what I heard, though, is that 2013 Parris was aligned with the consumer because 2025 Parris is more knowledgeable. So 2025 Parris may not be aligned with the same consumer as he was in 2013 because he has increased his knowledge base, right? Did I phrase that properly?
I get what you're saying, but let me add some additional context to this. So this is why I tell you, again, James, why aren't you clipping this one? Did you see the episode of XCast? And this was probably 2024. It was up in there somewhere, where I went on a rant about why Xbox, the console. Actually, this was around the time the rumors came around. So this definitely was 2024. But anyways, I was talking about how Xbox needs to make sure they take care of their core audience, the console owner. You need to instill faith in them that their purchase was valid, and you take care of them. I went on this whole rant, probably 15-minute rant about that whole thing. I don't see nobody talking about that. You know, they only talk about pitchforks. Again, the Phil Spencer interview around the Redfall time, I specifically talked about they need to instill confidence in the community, because the community is concerned. Where are the games? Why are these delays? What's going on? Why am I subscribing to Game Pass? Again, go watch it for yourself. You know, don't even got to listen to me right now. So to say that I'm afraid to be critical would be incorrect. But the point of have I gained knowledge over the years? Absolutely. But no, I am definitely not afraid to give my opinion or be critical of something. Even, like I said, when I just talked to Phil Spencer, how much clearer could I make it other than to say, if you are putting your games on your competitor's platform. Why am I buying your hardware? What's the incentive? So, and he had to answer it. You may not like what he said, because I'm skeptical of it 100%, but he answered it. And that's all you can do is ask the question. And this is, again, where I was bringing up before. Be respectful of the people that you're talking to. Yelling and screaming, because I get a lot of that where people just want you to go yell at people. No, I'm not going to go yell at the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to go yell at a studio head. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But you can still ask the question in a respectful way.
I think what people, what their expectation is, what you just said, I understand it, but it's twofold. My response would be twofold. First, I think what people expect is even though, and you said it yourself, you stood on the whole thing about exclusives and why would they do this and the thing, because you had front side information as far as, and you heard it from the people that make the decisions. So some people may say that's understandable, but once that didn't happen, I think people were expecting you to, you may have asked some questions, some tough questions. And I don't think the argument from the people, even in the chat, is that you won't ask a tough question here and there. I think the issue is the approach, and what you ain't got to cuss them out and motherfucker bitch, you know, of course not. Absolutely not. But I think what they're expecting, and they noticed from Parris, the more shrewd Parris from 2013, is they were expecting a response more like that Fortune magazine interview. Remember the infamous Fortune magazine interview from 2019 where Phil was really put on the spot? I don't know if you remember that. Did you see that? I don't
remember. No. You know, okay. If you talk about it, maybe I'll know what the interview was.
This is where he was talking about xCloud, and he infamously said, well, the guy was like, come on, xCloud has been in beta forever. Why didn't you? Why don't you make this retail? And Phil said, and I'm paraphrasing here, would you market that, or would you retail that? And the guy really, in a very respectful and professional way, hard pressed him. And I think a lot of us on the other side of this, and watch that interview. I'm not saying watch it to get cues, but watch where I think that's what people would expect. I saw that interview, and I bullshit you not. I thought that, I said, that's the Parris that I know. I feel like it's somebody Parris is someone else's husk. That's what I felt.
I'll do you one better. The Sarah Bond interview, was that last year? I guess that was last year with Bloomberg. When she was on stage. This was right after they
I remember
they were doing the layoffs and they closed Tango. And all that, right?
With Bloomberg,
Those were valid questions at the time. You 100% asked those questions because they needed to be asked at that time. And I will, again, I have to keep going back to the Redfall one, because we just had the lucky, it was luck, because you have to understand these interviews, especially at that level, are planned months in advance, right? And let me clear this up too. PR, Xbox PR, honestly, no PR period on any gaming thing has never told us what we can and can't say. It's never happened. So anytime you've seen me talk to Phil Spencer, PR has never said, oh, well, you can't ask him that, you can't do this. I remember specifically with that Redfall one, because he originally was coming on to talk about, they were going to announce something with Game Pass, whatever it was. It was supposed to be a happy interview, right? It wasn't supposed to be this grilling. And then the Redfall thing happened, and the CMA happened. Right, like the week before. I'll never forget. I was like, "There's no way in hell he's coming on. They're gonna cancel this shit." I was convinced, and they didn't. They just simply said, "Do you have an idea of some of the stuff that you want to ask?" And we're like, "Oh no, we're gonna talk about Redfall. We're gonna talk about the CMA." And they're like, "Okay," and we did. And that's all you can do. I understand not everybody's going to be happy with everything that's going to be asked, or the tone, or things of the way that they go down. I've been lucky enough, gang, since we keep talking about Phil Spencer, I've been lucky enough to talk to him 4 times now, since 2014 to now, 4 times. Each interview in a way, well, I should say publicly, because I've had private conversations with him too. And it's a thing of, I've learned with him, if you ask him, he will always shoot you straight on stuff. I've never felt like he's tried to deceive me or whatever. Sure, will he give you some PRE speak? Like, I'll never forget, I had said to him one time when they did that Bethesda roundtable, and he got a little wishy-washy even back then about exclusivity and stuff. I was like, man, you left yourself a little wiggle room there. Why'd you do that? And then he explained why. But point I make on that is, you know, I have my interview style of I try to just have conversations with people, right? I try to not feel like I'm trying to have some gotcha moment with you or trap you into stuff, but I definitely want to lead people into answering a question. I'll tell you again, when I was at Obsidian last November, and I sat down with Carrie Patel before Avowed came out, because I was at the studio to preview it, and I straight up asked her, because there was the controversy from Gamescom about the whole frames per second, because the one person said it was only going to be 30. So I asked her about it straight up. You can go watch it for yourself. She didn't directly answer it, but I understand. I've done it long enough now that, all right, she's not going to directly answer this. I'm not going to waste my time asking her this again in a different way, because she's going to answer it again in a different way, right? You move on. So that's just my style. And I'm not saying people have to agree with that, but that's just how I do things, right? Because I want to get as much information out as possible in the limited amount of time that you have. And I'm not even using this last interview with Phil as an excuse, but it wasn't a one-on-one. It was two people. It was myself and Danny. So we're going back and forth. So there's only so many things I can ask in a, what was it, 28-minute time window that we had. You know what I mean? So you try to get what you think is important out there, which I definitely knew about the multi-platform and, why am I buying an Xbox? To me, that was the most important thing. And I'm going to stick on that for just a second. Because I got a lot of flack of people like, well, you should have really pressed him on the multi-platform stuff. And I'm thinking, no, I didn't. He answered it already. He has already said there are no red lines. That instantly told me everyth's multi-platform. But it was in the discussion. You move on.
Yeah,
is now why
I agree with that.
Right. So at that point, why am I buying an Xbox? And then I'm trying to remember what it was. People got mad at me. Oh, Black Myth Wukong. People were like, why ain't you pressing on Black Myth Wukong? Why isn't it on Xbox? And I'm like, because he answered it already in November. He said straight up, I know why it's not on Xbox. I'm not going to tell you. So why am I going to ask him that again? This is again where, as an interviewer, I did my research to know what are things that he's already talked about. So you might, even if you go back, you see I kind of did a speed run through the open platform things and, Steam and all this stuff that I talked about, the hybrid. I kind of just lumped it all together because he had already addressed it. And like, let's move on and talk about something else. And then we got a sound bite out of him about Switch 2 and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. Not every interview is going to be perfect, and people feel free to criticize it. That's fine. But, we try to do the best that we can with the time that we have.
I think in hearing your response to this, I think, and this is going to be hard for you to shake. You know what I mean? You're going to be a continuous victim of 2013 Parris, of shrewd Parris, of Parris who's like, look, that definitively talks, if this is what you want as a result, this is what you have to do. And so when they see you
doing that now, how am I not doing that now? How am I not doing that now?
Well, when they see you do that on the internet more forcefully, and they don't, because you're for the most part, even though I didn't like how our situation was framed, for the most part, you don't start off or lead off into a discussion on some bullshit. It's like, professional, top tier, responses, as far as how you communicate in the structure of what you're discussing and all that stuff. So it feels like in the interview, a lot of that velocity is going down. Yes, you have thrown out some good questions. And it did go viral, which you asked about, well, why would I buy an Xbox? But it feels like that some of that intensity as far as, well, what is your direction? What are you doing? That's the perception. And you may feel that a lot of that stuff is unnecessary, or you may feel that you don't do that. But I'm just letting you know, as far as the perception is concerned, they feel like that the Parris that should be sitting across the chair from Phil should be the Parris from that Fortune magazine interview, because they feel like that's the Parris that they get on the internet. Let me throw one more thing.
I don't necessarily agree with it.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just simply saying, I hear you. I don't agree with it. I definitely don't. I would just simply say that, my interview style is my interview style. I don't think it's been, again, go back in the Rolodex of any interview I've done. This is how I always talk to people. Again, you want people to be comfortable so that they do answer these questions and they do give up a little bit more than they necessarily would. Nobody wants get them put in a combative situation, but it doesn't mean that you don't ask certain questions, as you've stated many times. It's not that I won't ask the question. It sounds more like people want me to ask it the way they want me to ask it versus the way that I am asking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of reason behind that, and I can actually relate to not to interview style, because I get it, and that makes sense. That's your interview style, and again, that's not me trying to glaze. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, MM2K, you softballer." No, if that's your interview style, that's your interview style. But I'm just letting you know that's the perception that's out there. That's what you're battling against versus people that are being gaslit. These are people that I'm telling you, I know from experience, because we've talked about this a lot. These are people that have followed you. They may be using 2025 less tasteful tactics to talk about the things that you're involved in, but that's whether it's right or wrong, in your opinion, that's at the core of their perception. I will say this also, that another thing that I think damages you, maybe inadvertently, is that to these people, is that like you said, there's the examples where you feel like Jamie didn't clip, where you said these things and you said these things or whatever. But I think the way that they're said, for some reason, they don't go as viral. And it's not just because Jamie's only clipping some stuff, but when you say the other things that people feel like are not up to par with what Xbox is actually doing, it's the actual sicko Xbox fans that are clipping that stuff and promoting that. See what Parris said, and that stuff goes viral. So when it's just you giving your opinion, but it feels like you're talking authoritatively, and it turns out a different way. Jamie may have contributed to a certain degree after the fact. It's those sicko fan Xbox people that are like, yeah, tell those ponies, Parris, that inadvertently that's hurting you as well.
Oh, trust me.
And one more thing, I'm sorry, Parris, one more thing. Let me throw this in there too. With Cyberpunk, I think Cyberpunk is the oracle of that. I saw you and I actually defended you at the time.
Excuse me.
Hello? Did you have to step away for a second?
No, I'm here. Keep talking. I'm grabbing water, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I actually defended you at the time when you said, you know what, Cyberpunk, pretty much, I'm paraphrasing here. It's not what it's supposed to be. This is not the Cyberpunk we wanted. The shit ain't what I was expecting. This is not what I was excited for. I defended you for that, and I got flack for that. But whatever, I don't care. But the thing that went viral was, I believe, right before that, you had saw a test or like a pre-release version of it, and I'm paraphrasing here. But to the use when people were like, hold on, we're concerned about Cyberpunk, and because they didn't show this or they didn't do this. And I think you came out to the effects and said, look, it's going to be it's in that authoritarian way. It's going to be okay. These aren't things to worry about. Da 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 da. Even if you were just saying that suggestively, when people heard that at that time in such an authoritative fashion, that went viral. It calmed down people, but when the game came out, people weren't even trying to hear what you had to say.
No, I agree. So let me jump in, because a little bit of that is incorrect. So I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
So you're right. I did get to preview the game, and it was over cloud streaming, because obviously there's the pandemic at the time, so they weren't flying people out to do hands-on. Mm-hmm. So I played a cloud streaming version of it, with someone from CD Projekt Red walking me through it, and it was the prologue. Uh-huh. If you go back and play that prologue, it ended right when V and Jackie were going to go to Arasaka Tower to get the relic, right? Mm-hmm. That's when it ended. So if you go back and play it, if you even go back to 2020 and play that prologue, mm-hmm. I mean, it was fine. There were no real issues with it at the time. So that's, again, my perception. What got me in heat was the console version, because they had put out some videos showing it on the Xbox One X and on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And my dumbass tweeted out, "Yup, nothing to worry about with the console versions. This is going to be fine." And that tweet exists today. Because this is the point that I made. When I F up, I own it. I'm not trying to duck it or hide it or delete it or pretend it didn't happen, because it did. And I own it. And trust me when I tell you, people still bring that shit up to me to this very day. But that was on me. That was on me. And and I've had these conversations with some people at CDPR. I was a huge Witcher 3 fan. So I'm throwing all my faith into them as a studio. Like, yep, they're going to nail this. They're going to be ready. I'm excited about it. I'm a super fan, the whole thing. And they got me. You know, that's where it comes from that. So, you know, all good on that. God, there was something else you brought up, and I was going to, what I was going to bring up was. I think I was just talking about,
it has something to do with Xbox, where the sycophants may clip something that may sound pro-esque boxish, and but they put framing around it, and it's like, see, Parris is giving it to the police.
I got you now. Yeah, exactly. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It really is. When it comes to that, it doesn't matter what the frick you say at that point. Some people are going to like it, some people don't. So you brought up the James thing, and, you know, I'll just keep using him as an example. So this is where I say again, he's going to clip stuff I say no matter what. So me being overly bothered by it or concerned by it is a waste of time. He's going to do it. So, all right, you own it. You take it. Yep, I said it. and you move on from there. I can't stress myself out over that. I can't be so concerned over that with a person that lives on. He's an internet person. He's not a real, like, I know he's a real person, but I don't know him. He don't know me. Like, matter of fact, just as an example, because people send me shit, and this is why I'm telling you, people get weird on the internet, man. And he said that I was a bitch, and tell him I said that, and someone told me he said that. Do you think I responded? Well, I don't respond to that. For what? I'm never going to see this dude in my life. And if I were to see him, which is another hilarious thing with all this internet stuff, it's funny when I run into internet people. Their tone is so different in person. Now it's all jokes and it's fun and, oh, no, you know, we just having fun on there, blah, 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 blah. So that's why I've learned to not take that stuff serious. And I'm not trying to bring up all the stuff previously, but I'm just saying that in the fact that I get the criticism. It's fine. Not to pivot too hard, but can we just address the Dreamcast guy thing real quick? Okay. Now, for full disclosure, Dreamcast guy is not one of my favorite people. I don't want to throw Randolph Thor under the bus. I remember back in my Xbox fandom days when I used to do Xbox podcasts. So Rand graced us a couple times. Shout out to Randolph Thor for that. And he's done a lot of things. He's done a lot of things for the platform that a lot of people don't even know about. But anyway, he was telling me, man, look, I love Dreamcast guy. Like back in the day, I'm like, okay, who's this guy? And I listened to him, and I'm like, I don't. Not that, again, I don't dislike or like people personally based. I'm like, I don't like this motherfucker based off his content. I didn't like his content. Like, this dude. And actually, he said something that irked me as an older gamer, because I hate when, and I don't think he's a younger, well, he might be a younger gamer, but I hate when younger gamers want older gamers to capitulate to the shit that they like. Like, I like what I like. Like, you don't get to tell me it was my generation that built this shit, and it's my generation that are the producers and the art directors. So go sit your little young ass down somewhere. That's where I come from with this. And he had made a video, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Parris. I've said some mean shit to him, meaner than anything you ever said to him. But I will say this, in my opinion. I heard what he had to say, and I kind of heard your side. And he lied, but go ahead. You saying that he? Okay. What did he lie on? Can I tell the entire story here? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Understand how all this happened? Yeah, go ahead. So, I don't even remember what year this was, but some years back. Well, first of all, let's really take it back. Him and I were actually at an event for Outriders right before the pandemic. I mean, literally, it was right before, a couple of weeks before everything got locked down. It's the first time I was ever around him in person, and I just knew of him. So this was, you know, obviously early 2020. And I remember I found it interesting. I was like, huh. He doesn't talk in person the way that he talks on the videos. He just talks like a normal person. Mental note. That was it. Fine. Now, this is probably a couple years later. I remember it was something about happening with Game Pass at the time. And I remember my buddy Tony Polanco was saying something. Gene Park said something. And then I chimed in and said something as well. Next day, there is a video that comes out where Xbox is doomed, everything, you know, his whole shtick. And he took half of the tweet and it made it sound like I was saying something completely different than what I said. Right? And I'm like, wait, why would you do that? That's not what I said. So this is what I say again, your boy, I DM'd him. Hey man, don't do that. Come on. No response. Mental note. So now, a year or two passed beyond that. We're at a preview event for Alan Wake 2 out here in LA. And I'm with Danny. And there's some other prominent people that were there too. I will leave nameless. I'm with Danny. We see him. And Danny's like, "Isn't that Dreamcast guy?" Because he knows the whole story that's going on. You think of that Dreamcast? I was like, "Yeah, that's Dream. Yeah, it is." He was like, "Man, you should go over there and say something to him about, you know, the thing." And I was like, "You know what? You're right."
See.
Went over there. Again, he was talking to these two other girls at the time, introduced ourselves. We had a friendly conversation. And I said, "Hey, man, I did not appreciate how you took half this tweet that I put out and, you know, you framed it in a different way." It's like, come on, man, we can't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. Wasn't no attacking, wasn't no threatening or none of that. "Oh, yeah, my bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. Blah, 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 blah." Then the conversation turned friendly. And then I guess he felt comfortable. And this is what I'm telling you, he's saying. He start talking about how he makes content and he just casually throws out, "Hey, you know, I cater up to those PlayStation guys, you know, because, hey, got to pay the bills. Waka waka, right?" Mental note. Left it alone. Had I talked about what happened without naming him? Yes. On various shows. Never named him. Now, last year, Xbox, again, you done told me the plot, so I know your secret. So why you would antagonize me on anything made no sense. Now, I'm on Kind of Funny with Jeff Grubb when we're talking about the Xbox showcase, and I put out the clip where I confidently said, again, me authoritative said, I think it's going to be a 9.5 and gave my reasons why. Right. And then I tweeted that out. He quote tweets it LOL. And then I think I was like, "Bro, why are you saying," or, you know, and I was like, you know, when I confronted you, however I said it. And then he kept going. And then that's when I'm like, "Hey man, leave me. All I'm saying is leave me out of your stuff, you know, because, you know, I get this is how you pay the bills." However I said it. Right. And that obviously all that stuff went viral. Now, that goes viral. My DMs are on fire from people around the industry going, "Oh man, glad you said that, da da da." I'm at Summer Game Fest, amount of people coming up to me, "Oh man, I'm just so glad you said that." Turns out, because he tried to then, he blocks me and puts out a video, says I'm lying about everything, right? It was funny. People that I didn't even realize heard our conversation, it was at the event, heard the conversation, and I will leave them nameless, but they're prominent people in this industry, right? So it's like, I ain't crazy. And Danny was with me too. So again, I literally got Danny standing there too. He's corroborating everything that I said. My whole point on it is this: I ain't bothering you. Leave me out of your stuff, man. I don't bother you. I don't name you. I don't do anything. I make my stuff. You are the one that make all your anti-Xbox videos, and you're literally using other people, taking them out of context to make your content. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna confront you when you put me in it, because leave me out of it. If that's what you do, that's what you do. So, and that's where we are now. I know he's said more things since then. He's unblocked me and all this stuff. But, you know, are we friends? Absolutely not. And no, I don't appreciate doing stuff like that. Just make good content. You don't have to do weirdo shit like that to make content. So no, I don't agree with it.
Okay, so when you were saying earlier, and I can remember the content because I vaguely remember it, but I remember it now, where I had gave my impressions of, after hearing your take and Dreamcast guy's take, I said I'm gonna talk to my members about what I think about this. Mm-hmm. Here's what I think. I don't disagree with you on pulling his skirt up, so to speak, on Twitter. If he was going to be stupid, and again, I don't. You can watch my video and be like, "Oh, this dude did say some nasty shit about Dreamcast guy." Like, wow, what the fuck? I don't defend Dreamcast guy at all. I can't stand his content. But again, I don't know him personally. I won't disparage him as a person. But anyway, but I felt like when you talked about pressing him, and again, this is just my opinion, my approach. I'm just throwing it out there.
I never said I pressed him. I never said that.
Well,
when did I say that?
Well, you pressed him because you approached him. Now, to you, pressing could be grabbing him by his face and throwing him through a window. That could be your. But when you came up on him and said, "Hey, what was up with that? You know, that content?" Here's what I learned, and again, for what it's worth, I remember one day I was on a podcast with somebody that I think you've podcasted with that you know well, and I think you get along with this person, and I don't have a problem with them then, but I didn't understand how this shit worked. So I got on a podcast with them, and I liked Xbox at the time, and they were pressing me why I like Xbox and calling me all types of dumb motherfuckers. So the street MM2K kicked in, and I said a whole bunch of crazy shit that I was like, I probably shouldn't say this on air. And then they shut up for the rest of the podcast, right? And so then I thought to myself, like, God damn, I know better than this. Like, what am I doing? I'm letting somebody, like, you know. And I've learned, I said, there's a lot of people that said a lot of shit about me, did a lot of crazy things. If I were to see them in public, I would just say, hey, what's up? Go about my business. I wouldn't even press them. That's me. So that's basically what I was saying to my members, is that I don't understand these situations because and the reason why I said that, Parris, and again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm above it all. I'm definitely not above it all. Like I can be an asshole too. Right. But my thing is that a lot of people are sitting there doing and talking about, let's link up at shows. I've been part of the crumb side where people are, let's link up at shows. You motherfuckers won't show up over video games. And you doing something really, to be honest, as innocently as just confronting someone about what they said. If there's an atmosphere where a lot of people are doing crazy shit at these shows, that could spill over to you. Again, there's a lot of hypotheticals there, but my thing is just, look, man, I'm here to cover the games. Fuck y'all. Y'all don't even exist. Just as long as no one threatens me, I'm okay. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on it. And that's where I was like, look, man, Parris, you're above that, man. Just fuck that dude. But
let me
go ahead.
Oh, no, finish. No, finish.
No, I'm finished. But that was my thoughts. And those are my thoughts.
So I hear this one a lot. You're above it. Why are you doing that? You're above it. Mm-hmm. Why can't these people just shut the fuck up? How about that? Seriously.
Because it's the internet.
Why is it? Why? No. But this is my point. This is why I tell you again, the Jameses and the Olivers of the world, who cares? I'm only talking about people that I know. Don't talk crazy to me online, and then I'm not supposed to say anything to you in person. No one's threatening you. I don't threaten nobody. But I will absolutely go, hey, why did you say that? Why is that unfair of me to do?
Because, well, there's multiple reasons, but I think the biggest reason, and I think you know why I'm saying multiple reasons, but I think the biggest, the one that stands out the most is it's the internet. And if somebody threatens you, like, I don't even want to get into this for your sake. I know there's a situation where you're like, it's on site. And I know you were on another podcast and they were trying to excuse it. And I was like, look, as much as I have issues with some of the things that this dude said, I'm telling you, as a father, a grandfather, and a husband, you go there with me when I'm like, chill, it's on site. But I would even say to that, I don't even want to get into that, bro. I would even say to that, don't even say it. Just let it happen.
I didn't know. I just said we'll have a conversation.
Okay.
That's all I've ever said. I've never threatened anybody. I just said we will have a conversation.
Yeah.
What that conversation entails, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
JC, I'm there. Even in my most critical moments, I'm like, no, you know what I'm saying? And again, nothing against those entities or whatever. I don't know them motherfuckers, but it doesn't matter who it is. I'm old school, and I could tell you're old school in that sense. You just may have. I'm at a point now to where I'm tucking that away to where you're like, nah, I'm gonna let it hang out a little bit. I get that point, but the dumb shit that Dreamcast did, and he said, I wouldn't have even approached him on it because you are above that, and those are the things to where I would have it as a conversation. So can't nobody twist it and make it seem something more dangerous, if you catch my drift, than what it was. That's my only concern. Is that
no? I know, and I hear you. I hear you on that. And let me just say, I'm very careful about the words that I say because, like I told you before, I know the words that I say are under a microscope. This conversation we've had this entire time will be analyzed and dissected. I understand that. So I'm very careful with the things that I say. I don't threaten nobody, but I do think, you don't get to talk to me any kind of way that you want and think I'm not going to say something back.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would do it on here because it's internet shit, and I that's the way I look at it. But that's just me.
But this is why I tell you again. This is why I move privately, because the amount of people that I have cursed out privately is substantial. Because don't talk to me crazy and think that, oh, golly gee, oh, you're the positivity peddler, yo, blah, blah, blah. And then you start clutching pearls when I actually push back on you and got something to say. This is what I'm saying again. Criticism, fair, valid. That's fine. You get personal with me. God forbid you bring my wife or my kids into something. Oh, we got a problem. I definitely gonna have something to say then.
I don't want to be.
Yeah, exactly. We leave that alone.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to. What they call that? Not an apprentice. What's that? Oh shit! I don't even want to be a co-defendant on that one, bro.
Yeah. So, but we ain't even got to go there. And that's fine with the Dreamcast stuff. And you are right in the sense of, I definitely try. Like, it's funny in this conversation while we've been talking, I've gotten 5 DMs about the other guy from people that would surprise you, because again, perceptions, reality, reputations, all that stuff. So I get it, and I like I said, I will leave it alone.
You know what?
I ain't got nothing else to say.
No. I know. I'm not going to. But yeah, because I let you have the last word. I just disagree, with it. But I'll just leave it at that because again, I don't think
that's fine. That's fine. And I'm honestly, I'm looking at time now. We've been talking a long ass time. I probably need to drop off soon.
Can I throw one thing from you from the chat? Because I know I co-signed for you because I wanted this to be a civil discussion. I know a lot of people are going to walk away from this. We didn't get the typical I didn't think that would be productive, and I didn't think it was necessary. Because like you admitted, which I would completely understand. Because on the flip side, I wouldn't do it either. If I come at a certain way or at a certain tone, that's not going to foster the discussion right now. And I still walk away feeling the way that I feel, and you feel the way that you feel. But I think we had a good conversation, and I'm all about conversations. I'm lying. There's one motherfucker that created content that I hate, but
we all got one. We all got one.
You'll never know who this is.
Yeah.
But there's people will tell you that the first thing I'll do is, I might just disengage from you. You know what I'm saying? If it gets like that personal, where I'm like, oh, you on some bullshit, I gotta roll. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do something else. You know what I mean? And I get called out for that more than anything. But I do think this was, this needed a different flavor. This it wouldn't have been productive or just worth some time. And like I was telling somebody in my Discord, I'm tired of motherfucker bitch all the time. Let's have a discussion, even if we totally disagree, somewhat disagree, agree, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I want to close out with this, Parris, or with this, or ask you this question, this final question. I'll let you finally close out. Someone says, they said, Parris pretends to be above the crumb side. He sure does love putting himself right in the middle of it. So you're probably familiar with what the crumb side is, but people
know exactly
feel like
what it is.
You said you know exactly what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But people feel like once you started doing these spaces and stuff like that, and again, I'm not attacking anybody that you do the spaces with. I think the spaces were entertaining or whatever, but people feel like that once you started interacting with the crumb side and whatever, that that you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to appear above it all, but then at the same time deal with the same people that do a lot of the personal attacks, and then they feel, and then you say you don't come off as the victim, but a lot of them feel like that you do come off as the victim. What do you say to that comment that Parris pretends that he's above the crumb side, but he sure does love putting himself right in the middle of it? What are your thoughts?
Here's my response. I'm not better than anybody, and I never pretend to be. If you think that I do, it's a you problem, because that's not how I feel. So I'm glad you brought up the spaces, because that is a classic example of what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Sure, I've been in there with some very toxic people, but this is where you hear what you want to hear, because when I am in there, I'm trying to talk sense into a lot of these people, or be reasonable, right? You act like I'm in there motherfuckers and cussing and all this, and I don't do that. I don't. So in that sense, yeah, I do think I'm above that. I try to have some goddamn common sense. I try to be an adult, when they're talking to us. So I don't know what your political affiliations are, and I'm not even trying to get into that, but I go on conservative shows. I was just on one about a month ago or whatever, right? Because I want to hear the other side. I want to understand stuff, and I want to give my point of view, just like we having the conversation right now. I've done it with other people. So no, I don't think I'm above it all. I can get in the mud. I try to not to. This is where I say again, leave me the fuck alone. And I ain't got nothing to say. But if you mess with me, I'm going to mess with you back.
Yeah.
Because I'm from South St. Petersburg, Florida, and that's how I grew up. Don't mess with me. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? Unless I just did something so egregious to just, again, like I told you at the beginning, why do you think I apologize to you? Because I ain't purposely trying to offend you or do something like that. Right? So if I know I'm wrong, I'm gonna apologize for it. I'm gonna say my bad. I shouldn't have done that. I don't try to act like I'm better than anybody, because I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm allowed my opinion. Absolutely. I'm allowed to have my opinion. I'm allowed to try to be a voice of reason in a sea of nonsense. It doesn't always work, but no, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't, you can have that perception that you think I'm trying to rise above it. Like, again, the whole positivity peddler thing that came about from a creator who tried to throw that at me as a negative, and I just snatched it up and used it in a positive way. Oh yeah, I am. Why not? Hey, it's fun. Ha ha. Laugh about it. Because, and I even wound up talking to that person, and we had a conversation. I told her straight up. I'm like, I have no ill will towards you. I don't know you. I'm not going to say anything offensive to you, right? You have this perception of me, that's fine. You put this label on me, let's laugh about it and we move on and we're cool. But yeah, that would be my answer to that question. No, I don't think I'm above it.
Okay. So in you, how are you and Tim Dog? If you don't mind me asking, you and Tim Dog?
We're fine.
You're
fine as far as I know. Unless you give me some breaking news.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm. I didn't want to say because I was going to say because without me getting into detail, Tim had a tiff with somebody, a mutual, right? And I know about that tiff. We'll leave that alone. But I think despite that tiff, you and Tim have built a cordial relationship. And Tim Dog is my brother. Like, that's why I said, I you know, people that know me know, like, I was in a DM with a lot of these crumb side, and and I'm one too, crumb side content creators. Even I feel like that my stuff is fair and all this, but that I'm allowed. That's my opinion. But I'm in a DM with a lot of crumb side creators, and I was the only Stadia guy in there. So you can imagine the amount of leg beatings that I got, including Tim. And that's my brother. That's why I said he knows. I don't care if people have differences of opinion. I'll just go back and forth with you. We could trade bars, come away bruised, and have a beer together. That's how I roll. But no, Tim has, that's why I threw it out there, because Tim has, acknowledged that, hey, despite my tiff, man, Parris is a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm throwing that out there because I know a lot of people that follow this channel or follow the chat or that are in the chat. You guys are, and let me know, what do you guys think? You guys think that I've capitulated too much to Parris? You think I'm being too nice to Parris? What do you guys think? It's just ironic. I just had this conversation. I don't want to do motherfucker bitch all the time. I do enough of that once a week.
Can I jump in and say this about Tim? Can I do this? Let me say this. So last year, obviously, when everything went down, and he was very upset and was doing spaces and kind of talking about all the various things, I jumped in a few of those spaces. I had conversations with him, and I even was saying then when we didn't really know the truth of what was going on. I'm like, look, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. It all figure out. I never. And this is what I tell you, I never try to judge people in a moment by stuff like that. And, you like you said, you cool with him. So, you can ask him yourself. I never judged him over that stuff. I tried to listen to him and understand his point of view on it. Because I do know he knows people at Xbox. So clearly he was hearing something, right? So I didn't think he was just Chicken Little being crazy. Obviously he knew something. Do I think he went a little overboard with it? Yeah. And I told him that. But at no point I was like, well, I'm turning my back on you and I'm no longer talking to you or whatever. I mean, I had an interaction because I know he went off of social media for a little bit. I had an interaction with him the other day when he came back. But yeah, I still follow him or whatever. I was like, I have no problem with him because at the end of the day, Tim is a fan. Like, look, I know he switched sides at one point, but Tim is a fan of Xbox. He's like a super fan of Xbox. He was a ride or die. He was always there. Like, I was actually excited that eventually we would meet up at like an E3 or a Summer Game Fest one year and chop it up, because at the end of the day, and I'll let you jump back in, but at the end of the day, man, that is what I love about this stuff, man, is the in-person stuff. When we all get to hang out and we talking shit and having fun, that's what it's about. Like Summer Game Fest, just this last year, like Cog and King and all them dudes, like all these people who came out, we're all hanging out and having a good time. That's what it's about. Not all this internet drama nonsense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's just a lot of it is, based upon, there are a lot of upset. I think you get the most heat, and I was included. You get the most heat from former Xbox guys who, again, just looking at the lineage, looking at where you were at as far as PlayStation way back in the day. And they're like, where's that old Parris that's they want you to give it to Xbox because they feel like they were duped. And when they see you say things like, I can see where Xbox, I have no problem with this, or I think this is fine. I don't think that's the thing that they want to hear, right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? But it's your opinion. You know what I mean? I just think that they were questioning if the opinion was authentic. I'm gonna be honest with you. I questioned it too, but I'm hearing you out. And it sounds like that, it was authentic. Whether I agree with it or not, that's a discussion for another day. But to be fair, and one last thing I will say, and then I'll let you close out, Parris, is that I gotta be honest, man. You're a charming motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you that. You're a charming motherfucker. He swept me off my feet, motherfucker, in chat. Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Because I'm fully transparent, and because I want people to be transparent with me when they're like, MM, you're fucking up. I want people to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. It's just when you're trying to attack, like how you say it, that's when I get a certain way. But Yeah, when in the heat of this, and this is what I was expressing in those tweets, in the heat of that situation with the other person, because I know the other person and I've gotten to know you, I feel like a little bit better. I just felt like that they were false framed and all this other stuff. And again, I get it, where you don't agree with that, and I still feel like they're being false framed. And I wasn't the most accommodating in my assessment. I'm like, look, this cat ain't trying to talk. He ain't trying to do nothing. He's just trying to false frame and gaslight and all this other stuff. Like, bro, like, quit it. But I will say this. I just think it's, you guys are talking past each other because you're so different. And hopefully it can get resolved. But that's up to you two. But I will say this.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that the pipeline is established. I appreciate you apologizing for what you apologized for. I really felt like it was sincere. So I appreciate it. And again, if you hear me, I just wanted to let you know so you don't step to me like LeBron did Stephen A. Smith. I just want to let you know I am passionate on the mic. So my co-host, you'll hear me. If I passionately call out something or an opinion that I disagree with, it's not an attack on you. I just want you to know that. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing against you. I have no problems with you. And I just always address opinions, which people are right to have, and because that's people's opinion. You know what I mean? I just passionately talk about how I feel in relation to the opinion, but that's all I had to say. You have any final words, Parris? Because I know it's getting late, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so it's already 10:45 here.
So it's like almost.
Oh, damn! So it's real late for you. So let me just say this real quick, and we get out of here. Okay. First of all, appreciate you inviting me up, even though you stalling me out for a little bit, and I was getting impatient. I think we had a good conversation. I appreciate your perspective on it, right, and allowing me the opportunity to answer it from my point of view. And we can agree on some things, disagree, and that's fine, and that's what's good about conversations. I would just simply say, for me, as far as with all this gaming stuff, I mean, man, I've been doing this since 2006, and there was a long ass time when I wasn't getting a goddamn thing. I was just doing it because I love to do it. And I feel in my heart that passion of, I do it because it's fun. So quick, super quick story. I was going to stop doing this in 2020. Okay. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I would have been done in 2020. Okay. Just because with my job and my kids getting older, it's like I got 2 adult kids now, one more is she's in high school now. It was like, man, I've done enough. I've seen enough. I've had a lot of fun with this. I'm good. And then the pandemic happened and we all sitting at home. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I'm gonna keep doing it then, right? Ain't got nothing else to do. Yeah. But, and then opportunities came along, and that, again, I am very appreciative of. And I understand that there always has to be a balance thereof. I get people say, oh, you got this or you're doing that. Has your opinion changed, or are you being persuaded by that stuff? I'm hyper aware of that. And I can only say it, but you don't have to believe me. I'm gonna still give it to you straight. That's all I can do, whether people want to believe it or not, man. And I understand, because I'm very public facing, I have a large following, I'm on platforms that a lot of people get to see stuff like that. People are going to make up their own minds about stuff. You're going to have people that like you. You're going to have people that don't like you. I get it. James, whatever the hell your name is, right? But people aren't going to like you, and that's fine. You don't have to like me. But I will say this, and I'll say this in an arrogant way too. Clearly what I have to say must matter to you, or you wouldn't keep flipping videos all the time. And that's what, not to get into the whole Reforge thing, that was the thing that I would have said to Reforge. With Astro, I get the shit's weird. Embrace it. Hell, he giving you free advertising. I
don't want to cut you off there, because this is your moment, but I'm going to cut you off there and say, I'm hopeful that you save that for your conversation with Reforge. I really do. No, it's fine.
And I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet right there.
I want you to save that for you. But I really hope that happens. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll leave that alone. Just other than to say, man, look, I get it. Call me on my bullshit. If you think I'm doing bullshit, call me on it. Obviously, we've opened the dialogue here. I will say again, I move privately, not publicly. Whether people want to agree with that or not, just hit me up. Just hit me up. I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about there?
Yeah, I was doing an interview series. This wasn't an interview series. I was doing an interview series, which is more relaxed, and I don't, it's less like the podcast, and it's more like, we're just sitting there shooting the shit, which just kind of was to a degree. But, if the opportunity presents itself and you're open to do it, man, I would love to have you on if you're up to it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I will just say, as far as my schedule goes, like I'm going to GDC here on Monday. Okay. And got some other stuff happening. I can't say yet.
Oh, no, but I can dig it, brother.
I would say probably in the May-ish time frame, I should have some free time. Then obviously June, Summer Game Fest and all that stuff.
Well, what I do for work, I used to do a show every day because I used to work from home, but now I'm working on like special projects, and I can only podcast on Friday. So yeah, it's not going to be anytime soon. But I'm just saying, when the opportunity presents itself, you know what I'm saying, I might reach out. So.
Oh, it's all good, man. And like I said again, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate the chat giving me a hard time.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
All
you
good.
know what I mean? So
it's all good, man. But it's part of being a content creator, man. You take the good with the bad.
All right. Well, you guys heard it. Parris came on. He didn't duck the fade. No, there wasn't no fade. He came on. You guys can beat me up tomorrow. I know they're already beating me up in the fucking Discord. You punk ass mother. Y'all can keep it going, and then we'll talk. Maybe tomorrow. Y'all can give it to me then. I don't care. But But like I said, I want to change from the motherfucker bitch. I get tired of that shit, man. Just like I was telling y'all on the Discord. But I appreciate everybody for coming through. Shout out to the members. J Code 2013, that's a new member. We had Cree 86 in here, and everybody else that joined as well. This is late as shit. But we're out of here. Till next time. Peace.
All right. I'll catch you later. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.